Welcome to Raging Bullets, a DC Comics fan podcast, episode 793. The road to 800 continues.
From the sleepy suburbs of Cleveland, Ohio, there are assembled the world's two greatest podcast hosts, created from the cosmic legends of the universe. Sean Whalen.
Welcome to Raging Bullets, a DC Comics fan podcast. I'm a big fan of variant colors. My love for Batman is that stuff. Let's talk some comics.
And Jim Segulin.
How's it going, eh? You know me and Superman. I'm really loving what we're doing. Raging Bullets is a spoiler podcast.
Their mission, to discuss DC Comics in books, movies, and television several times a month in 1 to 3 hour episodes. And to serve all mankind.
Outstanding.
Welcome to Raging Bullets. I'm Sean Whalen, drnorge, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Jim, the sensei of the whatnot, Segulin.
How's it going, eh?
Jim, on this episode, we're going to be continuing with part 2 of our look at DCKO. This time we're going to be focusing on tie-in issues Titans number 28, Superman number 31, The Flash number 26, and we are sponsored as always by DCB Service and InStockTrades.com. Mr. Segulin, what is going on over at DCBService.com?
We have the 50th anniversary Treasury edition of Superman versus Spider-Man. And they're doing the facsimile cover, so it looks like the original cover. 38% off, only $12.39. Plus, we have DC and Marvel presents Spider-Man and Superman, also facsimile editions, also 38% off, only $11.15. And each of those titles have multiple variant covers, with also have some great discounts from DCBS. So thank you, DCBS.
Is that the new one? Like, because there's a new one coming out, too. Are they already soliciting? Are we at the point where they're soliciting the new one as well?
I don't think so. They're two different stories, because the one is Doom, and the other, the one's Parasite and Doom. The other one is Doc Ock and Luthor. So they're two different stories, but I don't know if the second one may be a new one.
Who's the creators on it? Does it say?
Okay, well, the first one is obviously that's Jerry Conway. Right. So that was the original one.
Right.
The second one, hold on, it's Jim Shooter.
Oh, okay. So that's again, it's not new.
That's not the new one, no.
Okay, cool. Oh, I love these oversized treasuries that are doing. I'm all in on treasuries right now. I'm treasury happy.
Yeah.
It's funny. I've been getting the new ones as they've been coming out, just various ones like the Batman. They did the Batman issue oversized and things like that. I'm loving this oversized. It kind of goes with the absolutes that we've been digging. It's the bigger the artwork, the better. So yeah. I'm all in on that. Over at InStockTrades.com, they have DC Finest War, the Big Five Arrive trade paperback. And it's $39.99, regularly 55% off, only $17.99. That's a must-have for me. I love these DC Finest, and they're collecting stories that I have not read a ton. I've read some. I've not read a ton of DC War comics. So like the horror comics, I'm very into these because I grew up, just being very into the superhero stuff. Occasionally I would get an issue here and there of some of the war comics and horror titles. I love that they're collecting these. They also have Injustice Gods Among Us Compendium 2 trade paperback. $59.99, regularly 48% off, only $31.19. This is a great Elseworld story. If you've played the game at all, I highly recommend jumping on this. Even if you haven't played the game, the story in itself is stunning. There's some pivotal events that happen in Superman's life that change the course of history, and I'd highly recommend picking up these compendiums and reading the story. These are very, very well done books. And so if you haven't read this before, definitely pick it up and check it out. I want to thank DCB Service and InStockTrades.com for continuing to support our show. Mr. Segulin, what kind of a podcast are we?
Raging Bullets is a spoiler podcast. We go in-depth into plotline, story twists, and whatnot of the comics we're discussing in today's show. So if you haven't read the books, you may want to come back later so you can better enjoy the show.
Let's talk some comics.
Come on, Skreel. Let's pay these Plutonian beam makers a visit.
Jim, before we jump in, I want to shout out the release of Batman Revolution by John Jackson Miller. This is the second book in his series of books that continue on the story from Batman 89. The first book and this one both take place after the events of the first Tim Burton Batman movie with Michael Keaton. It reads exactly like it would be another movie in the series. All these events take place before Batman Returns. So it's kind of cool because if you've been reading the DC stuff, they take place after Batman Returns. So this fills in the blanks there. This one's a Riddler story. And I'm 5 chapters in right now, so I just started reading it. But I'm super digging it. It really feels very much like if Burton crafted it. So it feels very Elseworldsy, but if you like that 89 Batman vibe and you're looking for more of it, these books are excellent. The first one, I could not put it down. The first one was a Clayface story. The second one now is a Riddler story. And it's something that I always wanted from that world. I know we got the Jim Carrey Riddler story, but I wanted a Tim Burton Riddler story. I wanted to see what he would have done with it. It would have been super cool. So there were those rumors for years, I think, of Robin Williams being involved or associated and things like that, and that never came to fruition. And who knows how solid those rumors were. It's funny. I mentioned on the last episode that I saw a little meme about a Flash game or something like that. Those rumors, you got to take with a grain of salt. But I still get excited about them. Like when they were chopping at the bit for Robin Williams to potentially be the Riddler, I was into it.
Well, there's like rumors or talk going on about they're bringing in Flash into the Superman universe. You know, the recent Superman movie.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, I saw that and I'm like, what the? Oh, that's cool. No.
Well, and I think right now, because I think the script is done. If not, it's close to done. You know, what is considered quote unquote done. But, you know, they fast-tracked that movie because the first one was so good. You know what comes out on Tuesday that I'm really excited for? There's a book about the film. You know, with the concept art, things like that. These usually are released well after the film's done. But it's just being released. I pre-ordered it. So on Tuesday, it's one of those nice little coffee table books. But I'm particularly interested in seeing the concept art, what all that looked like and the backstory. James Gunn's heavily involved in this book. Well, at least you know, they pulled from James Gunn for this book. I love behind-the-scenes comic books. You know, I love behind-the-scenes film books. I'm a big film fan. So This is something, if it wasn't on your radar and you are very into the movie and wanted some more, that's coming out on Tuesday.
See, I did not know it existed. Now I know. Now I'm going to find it. So, yeah. Thank you.
So it's good stuff. John Jackson Miller is going to be at the GalaxyCon Columbus in December. It's December 5th, I think, is the kickoff of that. It's that weekend. And I've been going every year to that con. It's getting bigger every year. There's lots of guests with comics. There's lots of celebrity guests. There's lots of animation guests. There's wrestling guests. There's a little something for everybody. Like I'm already chalked up I want to get a picture with Darby Allin and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat's a bucket list one for me as a kid. WrestleMania 3 with him and Savage was one of the pinnacle matches. And I met Savage when I was a kid, but I've never met Ricky Steamboat. So I'd really like to meet him. And so I'm excited for that one. But that's a great convention. If you happen to be in the Columbus area, if you're going, drop me a line. Let me know that you're going because I'd love to meet up with you. But it's a really cool convention, one that I recommend. All right, Titans number 28. Let's start there, and we'll start kicking off this look of DCK. Oh, boy, this is a great example, Jim, of I did not know what this was going to be. Let me go over the creative team real quick. John Layman is the writer. Pete Woods, artist and cover artist. Wes Abbott is the letterer. Brad Walker and Marcelo Miolo and Paris Aline on the variant covers. We got Marquise Draper as editor, Brittany Holzer, senior editor. Superman created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster by special arrangement with the Jerry Siegel family. Apologies for any name butchery. I know, like me, you are a Titans junkie. And I've been really digging this book. This is a really good creative team. John Layman's doing a great job writing this book. And I'm really glad that we're getting these stories that are focusing on leading up to the evacuation. Like, we've got to evacuate Earth because of the fact that if the heroes fail, the heart of the apocalypse is going to basically swallow our planet.
Yeah.
So this is about saving the human race. So they have an opportunity to gather together some of the greatest heroes, the greatest minds in the world. And this story has so much going on it that I feel is realistic as far as what people's reaction would be. You're going to have people all over the place with it. I did not expect this. And I love treats like that where you get this story where I'm like, oh, this is really heady in all the right ways. It's a great Titan story.
Well, I'll tell you, as we've been saying this multiple times, and we'll keep saying it multiple times, did not expect what we're getting from DCKO.
Yeah.
And the books we're talking about today are, again, another one of those just, that's awesome. A lot of times when you have these events and you have the tie-ins, you're like, oh, okay, that's kind of neat. But it's not anything like, I don't go, oh, wow, I usually don't gush over tie-ins. This one is doing a brilliant job with the tie-ins, making them relevant towards the overall story. The overall story isn't just about the fight. It's about the DCU. And I love the fact that we're getting this. It's one of those things where I was like, man, this is awesome. And this is for me a great reason why I love the Titans so much. Mm-hmm. You get the family element of this team. This is not a team. This is a family.
Yeah.
And you see it constantly. And it's funny, in this issue, we really don't have any combat. We don't have really any action per se, but we do get an amazing story. And it's about this team. It's about what they need to crack Earth. It's about the overall plan of DCKO. I love the fact that the heroes are planning, what if we lose? Because Darkseid has won. They have to change the future and the past and the present all at the same time by winning this tournament, by then defeating Darkseid after winning the tournament. So I love the fact that the heroes they recognize we failed. So we're giving ourselves 7 days to help the world. And I love how this is playing out. And again, I loved how they showed with Cyborg telling everybody,
yeah,
here's what the plan, and I love that, it's a couple pages. They took a couple pages of multiple panels to have him giving a speech in multiple languages. And then that final bit where I'm confident we can make this happen together, and then together, all the different, in a different language, the word together in the different languages. I loved how they laid this out. Again, it brings you that hero moment of, oh, hey, we got to work together, people. It's time. We all have to gut up here. This is our time to do this.
One of the things that I really enjoyed about this, you alluded to it earlier, there is not like big fight sequences in this issue. And I think this issue is better served for that. Like not having to go with the traditional tropes of the issue has to have these types of pieces in there. I mean, it's just a really well-crafted story from beginning to end that didn't have anything that was forced into it, which was something I really like. Layman's writing on this is just really, really strong. I love his Cyborg, which I think is really fantastic. Cyborg is one of those characters, because he's in Justice League and his pivotal role, and he's a combatant in DCKO. Yeah. Cyborg's not there as a part of the Titans team proper. Titans, he's there as a representative of the Justice League telling the world, like, hey, this is what's happening in 7 days. And he's got one shot at delivering that right. Because we've got to mobilize people. 7 days is not any time at all. It sounds like a lot of time. It's not. When you're trying to mobilize this many people, it's nothing. So I really liked that there was so much driven towards him delivering this message. The 2 pages were perfect, because here's what I like about this. It respects the Titans reader. I am a Titans reader. I don't have the budget for DC. I want to know what's going on. They gave you everything you needed to be up to speed in those 2 pages and editor's notes if you want to jump onto other things. If you're like, I want to pick a couple of these books up and see what's going on, they give you the appropriate amount of editor's notes. I love the use of editor notes here. There was a period of time where we saw very little editor's notes, and we're going back years now. And I really appreciate their use in DC, because in multiple books, we see some great editorial notes that are just giving people what they need, not just with DCKO stories, but we'll talk about it in Flash. There's actually a Flash story arc that preceded there, and they did a great job of giving that. As a reader, I appreciate that because it points you to reading. And that's, as a comic fan, I love being pointed to additional reading, either to reread something or to fast track something that maybe is in my stockpile that I haven't gotten to yet. And it's a really good thing about this. But love Cyborg in this. Love Cyborg.
Oh God, yeah. Again, he is one of those characters that I want to make sure they handle him right. And I love the fact that Cyborg is getting the respect he deserves. Mm-hmm. You know, I would have loved to seen him with his Titan friends, but I do love the fact that they recognized this is a power level that we should have in the tournament. You know, and I love the fact that he's got that level of respect that he should be there.
Here's the thing. They want somebody that could potentially win. Yeah.
And again, with the mother box, father box, all the variations that he has inside him, mm-hmm. He's not an underdog in the fight. I like again, we last time we talked who we thought was going to be, and I'm sticking with my predictions. But again, I could see, people putting money on Cyborg.
You also want those heavy hitters, so that way you're generating this Omega energy, which is really interesting.
Yes.
I want to read this page real quick. Darkseid is coming, and this universe will be destroyed. The only hope for survival is to forge a champion in the fires of combat. A tournament is now held to capture the heart of Apocalypse and become the King Omega. A champion powerful enough to match Darkseid and save reality. The heroes and villains of the DC universe must now look within and ask, what am I willing to do to save everything? And I just think that's a great page. It's in all of the books, and it's a great way to lead into this. I didn't realize these Titans Towers had the ability, it's probably something I forgot, to become ships. And it's super cool.
I'm sure it got changed.
Huh?
So I thought that was just a recent upgrade, not something it's always had the ability, I thought.
I don't know. How do you retrofit a building to be space-worthy in 7 days?
I don't know. How do you do anything in the universe?
Yeah. Because they said thanks to Mr. Terrific's and Cyborg's enhancement. So when did they do that? Did they do that over the 7 days? I don't know. Maybe they did. Because they're trying to build ships as fast as they can. I love it.
Oh God, yeah. Hold on. I'm excited when the Titan Tower took off in the air. I'm like, yes. And then I love the fact that we've got flying Titan Towers. I cheered with that one.
It references the Nightmite incident from Nightwing 127 to 129. If you're not up to date on Nightwing, that is a fun story.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
I really love Nightmite. I'll tell you. I'm not a huge fan of Batmite. But I am a huge fan of Nightmite.
Did you watch the cartoon as a kid with Batmite?
No.
Okay, see, I did. So admittedly, I probably would be in the same place as you, except I have the nostalgia for Batmite. Because Batmite used to be on the cartoon, and he was annoying on the cartoon.
Let me clarify something before people get angry. I'm not saying Batmite is bad. I'm just not a big fan of him. There's a difference. And when Batmite makes appearances, I read the book. I chuckle when I'm supposed to chuckle, especially if it's a well-written Batmite story. But I'm not like, I can't wait for more Batmite. Nightmite, I'm like, I want more Night.
So here's the thing, using reverse psychology right now.
Yeah.
If Batmite were a real thing, he's going to bug you. He's not going to want to bother with me because I like him.
Yeah.
So I can see, and it would be fun to podcast record with you with Batmite on your end, because I know that would be just for this recording, and then I turn it off and he will continue to harass you. So it really is.
And the whole time I'm like, hey, go to my buddy Sean. Man. He wants you around him.
I've already got Nightmite over here because he's not going to want to be there. I do like the Titans Tower and the fact that multiple Titans Towers were able to be a part of this whole piece. Just kind of taking advantage of the advanced technology they already have sprinkled through the DCU. So to your point, if they did retrofit it, what are you most likely to retrofit? It's going to be these buildings that they put enhanced security on. And you'd imagine that building was built with the purpose of being able to, if it wasn't already built to do what it's doing right now, it was certainly built to withstand a lot because of the people involved. So I love that whole piece. It was great to see the Titans band together and have real honest conversations about this, about what evacuation looked like, and also this idea of splitting apart. To your point about them being a family, now them having to go apart, because this is a scary part. And I love this build. This is where I think the writing is brilliant. When are we going to get back together? When are we going to be able to see each other again? Are we going to be able to see each other again? What does all this look like? Again, they put this together in 7 days. Now they're trying to find where they go from here once they launch and what that looks like. And I loved that uncertainty. It added a sense of reality to this that I just really liked. I like when our heroes are fully rounded people. And you see that piece of them knowing our goal here is to save everybody. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to find out what that looks like.
Yeah.
It's just a great sense. The urgency is such that you don't have a lot of time to fully plan this out in a way that you would ideally like to. It's, we got to get off of here. Then we figure out what the new home's going to be. They're almost setting up like a Battlestar Galactica kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll tell you, I love this one, the panel of that when right before Corey leaves, they had that one hug, and she's like, I gotta go, guys, I'm on duty. And that one single panel, just a nice silent hug among the family.
Yep.
I love the look of that, because again, as I said, this is to me family, and it's one of those great moments, and even afterward, they're still all dealing with it. And Beast Boy, the ever optimist, always, he's trying to keep things going, but even he can't 100% keep a smile going. And it's a tough thing to see, and a tough thing for your friends to go through. And I love the emotion that really gets conveyed in this.
I like that they're sitting here saying that he's not, because they're trying to be positive. These not goodbyes really suck. Gar's trying to be an optimist, and he's having some real conversations with Rachel on that. And I loved that interaction between the two of them with their rich history. These two dated. They've got that feeling between the two of them, and you see what that looks like. And I love that she's, I'm following your lead and hoping for the best, but at the same time, I'm going to prepare for the worst. And there's a reality to that. They're doing this. They don't know what they're going to do is going to work. Yeah. What they're trying to do is set themselves up for a better situation than what they've got now. And I love that, too.
Well, and again, it's one of those, the villain has won.
Yep.
This is a reaction to the villain winning.
Right.
And that's the thing that always, again, that's something that I love about this story. The villain has won. Mm-hmm. So now the heroes have to improvise, adapt, and overcome, and maybe they'll be able to steal death from victory. They'll steal it back. But they're laying down a groundwork, because you always go into these events thinking, okay, the heroes are going to win. The heroes are going to win. Yeah, there's going to be some changes to the universe. But in this one, they really seriously could do an Earth 2 story where they don't win. And they have to go to another planet.
Yeah.
And to your point, the Battlestar Galactica story, where they've got to go to another planet or they got to do something else. Now, do I think that's going to happen? No. But I know there's going to be lasting effects from this story. Mm-hmm. There's going to be definite changes that's happen. The universe is going to be turned up on its ear, no matter what happens. So I love the fact that they're laying down this foreboding of, we could possibly have them having to go to another planet, them doing something else, going to the far stretches of the universe to try to escape away from this dark side reign and restructure our life. They're laying down plenty of possibilities other than, the hero wins and we move on, which would be a boring ending. So I love the fact that they're already giving us a really good groundwork for some future unknowns of what's going to happen in this universe, and especially with the Titans. I don't want any of the Titans to die, but it could happen.
Sure.
Very easily, it could happen. And I don't want that to happen, but we may be losing Titans. And I think that for me is another, oh my God, what's going to happen here? Because I very easily could see one or two of them sacrificing themselves to save the convoy, to save the rest of to save everybody else. Because that's That's what a Titan does. If they need to, they will sacrifice themselves. And I can very easily see that happening in what's coming down in the future. So I love looking at this. I love seeing this. This is something that I'm like, holy crap, this is going to be kind of cool.
Well, we saw recently the death of a member of a long-standing team, which we'll talk more when we get to the Flash issue.
Yeah.
But so, this idea that these things can happen and possibly will is something that's really a danger in all of this. And you're right. I especially in an event like this, if there's a possibility of somebody dying, it's going to be during one of these.
Yes.
So, yeah, some people could take a hit. I did like seeing John's reaction to the Titans. And just kind of this idea of, I've always wanted to team up with you, working side by side. Sorry, it's under these circumstances, which is, it's such a point of respect, right? It's something you say in the real world when you meet people like that, where they're just elevated people in your mind. And I just loved the Layman's really good at organic dialogue, like real, like grounded dialogue that just feels like this is something people should be saying.
And again, this is a Superman. This is Superman saying this to these people.
Yeah.
It shows the respect because John's not a Superboy. He's not he is Superman.
Yeah.
And I love the fact, and that was something I really do love the fact that his father showing him the respect to say, no, that's also your title as well. We're not doing these other titles and all that stuff for you. And again, I admit I am a big fan of each hero having their own individual name and blah, blah, blah. But there's something about John and Clark both being called Superman I'm okay with.
Well, you got more than one Superboy.
Right. Well, yeah, we already have multiple Superboys. But I do love the fact that John has earned the moniker of Superman. And
it works.
Wears it. It works, yeah. So, and again, like you, I love seeing this team up. And again, explains why John wasn't in the tournament. John wasn't in the tournament. He was helping with the evacuation. And that's a good usage of John in the evacuation. Yeah, John would have been powerhouse because he is a Superman, but this is a better usage of him. And I like that.
This sequence with Donna, when we see the Titan's towers flying out into space, past the watchtower and things like that, when you see Donna and she's clutching her head because she's recognizing that, wow, we've done some good work here, but we are just barely scratching the surface, because she asks the question, how many billion does that leave? And I love the lettering there. Billion. Just putting that emphasis on there. You see that on her face. That is a marriage of art and dialogue that is so poignant. I mean, you feel that. You can almost hear the music. This is somber music that's playing as Donna's doing. Like, because what you'd have this like monumental music playing as these like big ships are going out into space, right? But then the music's going to come down when you see this moment with Donna, because you just know like this is the weight of the world crushing on her. And I love that with somebody who I think is so known for just being that confident kind of leader. In those sequences, I just really liked that. It led to some great bits with her and Roy that I absolutely adored. And that part was just really, really strong for me. Because it was a great moment to see Roy shine as well.
Yeah. And again, 100% agree with you. But I do love the fact that right before that, we see the private message.
Oh, yes.
From Cyborg to now. Mm-hmm. And I was so happy that we got to see this. Because again, Cyborg's not involved with any of this stuff, because he's prepping for the tournament. He's prepping to fight. And we get this moment, and it's, as we said, they're writing Cyborg correctly. Mm-hmm. Cyborg is 100% spot on for me. I love this. When I look at Cyborg, I always look at, he needs to have very human emotion, very real. Well, even though half him is a cyborg, he's still a man. And he needs to have those emotions. Those are some of my favorite Cyborg moments, when we get this real, when we get him where he's not detached. He's not a machine. He's a man. And it's the definition of who he is. I love those kind of moments. I go back to the Justice League movie. The one scene when they're separating the cubes, and he's like, when he and Super talk, I was like, yeah, good. I don't want to die. And he has that little kind of just okay, let's try this kind of moment. That for me was a great acting moment on that actor's part because it really did convey that human emotion that I always love in a cool cyborg stuff. So I love this scene. And then you flip to
the other piece that I like about that too is he says the line of, I can't say it's a responsibility I'm ready for, and then the tone lowers. I don't even know if I'll survive. And I loved the use of lettering in this. Lettering is really strong in this. We get bold at the right time. We get larger text at the right time. We get smaller text at the right time. Everything just conveying emotion on what's going on. And just building off of that cyborg sequence is so, so good. I don't often broadcast just how much lettering is important to what is going on. This issue, it stood out for me. And sometimes you don't need it to. I mean, sometimes it's doing its job in the sense that it's not in your face. It's subtly doing this. In this one, it needs to be a little more in your face because of the events that are happening. And I just really appreciate what letterers do. It's a lot of times like the work of a color artist. I don't always appreciate as an artistic critic, I should say, the quality of what colorists do in order to bring that tone and mood and everything in their choices. When I really see something that stands out, it makes me recognize just sometimes you need to be the unsung hero. You know what I mean? And I feel a lot of the people on the creative team, a lot of times, because they're so talented, they become unsung heroes because they do their job so well that they're seamlessly keeping you engaged in the story versus having the fingers pointing at them, if I'm making any sense. And I really appreciate that professionalism. You know, there's something to the professionalism and the talent of being able to recognize I have to do here what's best for the job before me. And I just really just appreciate the entire creative talent that's putting together this issue. This is a stellar issue. I really enjoyed this. It just stood out for me.
It's again, well written and visually pleasing. This was good. This was a nice combo. And I'm going to echo your sentiments on lettering. It's a lot of times we don't really accentuate it, and it's this one. We're both seeing the exact same stuff, and we're both noticing the same stuff. So this, again, kudos on the lettering team on this one.
Yeah, it's not just putting words on a page. It's really not. If you think that it's the same thing like inkers. Remember the old, what was it, Mallrats, where they were calling inkers tracers type of thing. And it was meant to be the insult that it was supposed to be, and just to kind of get in your face and explain what they brought in. I actually loved the whole sequence with Brody where he actually explained, no, let me tell you what an inker does. And I love that sequence in Mallrats when he does that. I think it's the same thing with lettering. It's not just putting words on a page. It's how you do it. That's the talent. If I did it, it wouldn't be this.
Right.
It would be just words on a page.
Exactly. And again, it's one of those things.
You'd be lucky you got them there.
Yeah. And I think I said in episode 1, those that can do, those that can't critique.
Right.
So we can both recognize that we do not have the artistic abilities to pull this stuff off. So kudos to anybody who can. I really do appreciate it.
But let's go a different route with it. It's not just people that can. There are those times when exceptional work stands out and you're like looking at it going, wow, they really nailed it for this issue. And it makes me go back and appreciate other things that I've seen that maybe didn't stand out as much because of the fact that they were just doing their job well.
Yeah.
The Donna and I want to go back to the Donna and Roy sequences because that's right after this piece. And Roy's kind of that guy where I get why Donna makes the statement of, you're not usually the one that I think I would go to for that kind of comforting advice like this.
Yeah.
And yet he's nailing all of the right things to say. What I love about this is before the Lian situation, when we had the Team Arrow family and before Lian went missing, this was the Roy we were getting back then.
Yeah.
And I love that Roy has kind of come full circle and become that guy again. Because I love this Roy, and I love seeing him. He's fought past his demons, and that's always going to be a struggle for him. But you love seeing these people that like work really hard to get themselves where they're going to be. And I love that about Roy. I love that I root for Roy. This again, it's a character in a comic, and because he's so well crafted and so well written, I root for Roy to have these moments. And you're like, yeah, good on you, Roy. Getting over this.
Yeah. Well, again, this is an advancement of the story that's happening in Titans between Donna and Roy. And
yes, it
love
is.
That.
Yeah.
I love the fact that they're continuing the story, the story that's been laid out, advance in this moment. And again, I love the little smirk on John's face as they're behind him kissing.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that, again, little kudos on that. All right, because John is a romantic, so I love the fact that he recognizes and he's like, "Oh, good for that." John saying, "Oh, good for you guys, good for you kids."
These are also two kids that are finding their way back together again.
Yeah,
after a long time.
One of the things something you commented on, and I want to just further accentuate. Roy is an addict. And when you're dealing with addictions, a lot of people go through different steps and different stages and different kind of stumbles. I mean, you stumble, can you pick yourself back up again? And there's always going to be that kind of doubts, and the people around you are some will say, "Hey, I got you. Others like, once a junkie, always a junkie, and I love the fact that how they've been handling that in the Titans. They give Roy a chance and they bring Roy back in because he is family. But some of the really cool Roy moments have been when he's questioning whether he should be there. Like when this thing between him and Donna first started happening in Titans a couple issues ago, he's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do here. He's got everything going on with his baby mama, who's an assassin, who could kill people. He's got all his other personal demons that he's constantly dealing with. I love the fact that Roy recognized that. And that's a very addicted person fighting addictions. That's a very real thing to have them go through. Roy has been a well-crafted character who is an addict who's dealing with his addictions. And that's something that I've really loved in showing this. I don't know how much planning went into when they first made him a junkie, but all the writers,
a lot.
I'll tell you, this is something that the writers, who are handling Roy, have make sure we get this right. Because especially now, we're getting a really good, solid story of somebody who's gone through addictions, who still has to fight that addictions, who it affects his life in other ways that we wouldn't normally think of. And you normally wouldn't think, okay, yeah, drugs. This has nothing to do with drugs. Oh no, it's all about judgment, decision-making, what he does with life. Can he truly trust his own brain? Am I making the right choices? Or am I just chasing after another high, another rush? He's always going to question those kind of stuff because he's had those faulty decisions in the past. I love how they're really doing that with Roy here. It's absolutely brilliant writing.
What they did with Roy back then on Green Lantern, Green Arrow, and if you've never read those issues, do yourself a favor and seek them out. It is like pinnacle of amazing comics. We got to do that at some time, the Hard Track Heroes stuff. We really do need to do that on the show. That is going to be that's a must have that we've got to go do. I've said that before on the show, and especially now that we're back full blown DC podcast, that has got to be, actually, I'm going to say this, in 2026, we have to do those issues.
Yes.
We will find them in 2026 because it's great reading. It's also cutting edge because it was controversial at the time, from certain groups as far as that can go. And do you remember as a kid? So I remember being at St. William's School in elementary school and getting a hold of the Titans. There was a special Titans anti-drug comic. And it was, one of those things that was done for kind of promoting with kids, hey, kids, stay away from drugs and things like that. But it was a Titans story. Did you ever encounter this?
No, I never did.
So at that time, I was heavy into the X-Men, Uncanny X-Men, and, having no budget and things like that. I always loved the Titans. I loved especially the Batman connection with Nightwing and stuff like that. But I remember this comic coming across and it was really good. It was really well done. It was just this really good story, obviously revolving heavily around Speedy, kind of mentoring and dealing with the fact that he had those demons and being the one to be a spokesperson about it. And it was a really good issue. Sometimes when you got those books, they kind of talk down to you, and this one talked to you. And I remember as a kid just being like, wow, okay, this is cool. I mean, it was really just well put together for the purpose that it was made. It's a good example of comics being a different place as a medium. I mean, it would still work today, but I think back then comics had a very different place in our society as far as readership numbers and things like that. It was just very cool that they put that issue together back then. It would still work today, but like I said, let me pull back on that a little bit. You put a comic in a kid's hand today in a school, they're going to read it. Yeah, kids love comics. They really, really do. If you're listening to this and you happen to be a teacher or have access to a classroom or things like that, donate comics, get comics into that classroom, especially trade collections because they just last long. Trades or hardcovers last a lot longer in a classroom. My kids, when I taught, beat them up. And it hasn't been that long. I've been out the classroom for about 12 years now. And my kids were beating up stuff like Bone and things like that. Life and Time of Scrooge McDuck, which was a bit above them. Yeah. Because the density of the text. But comics really are something as a medium to get into the classroom is worth it. I'm actually going to speak next Thursday at my school district in the evening. They're doing a literacy night, and they want myself and our superintendent, who are both comic book fans, to come in and speak about comic books. Oh, nice. So, nice. So we're doing that. I'm glad. I'm really glad that they feel that this is something that should be a part of a literacy night. They asked me about it, like, would you come and talk about this? I'm like, oh yeah. Like I'm a big believer, and I love so much that you're doing it.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah. So this Raven and Bumblebee sequence that was there, I thought was really great. I'm glad that they're making this feel like a worldwide event where they're bringing in everybody that they can and giving them a chance to spotlight. I thought the interactions between the two of them and the tech and just this conversations around things that may not be enough. Oh, and the fact that they've got to keep pushing and they've got to keep finding solutions. And I love that this is something we're not feeling just in this issue, but in multiple stories that are involved with this. And I love that this feels like a piece of the puzzle. I just love the character interactions between the two of them and seeing Raven kind of living up to what she told Gar, right? She told Gar that she's going to try to be glass half full with this, but I love the idea of hers, but I'm also going to plan for the worst. I think that balance is why Raven's here in this sequence. And I think it's why she works so well there, because she sees A and B, and she's trying to do everything she can to account for the fact that she's worried about the worst. And I thought this was just a really great follow-up sequence. Again, the sequential writing that is going on in this story is just top notch. Every scene has a purpose and builds off of the other ones that will come before it. This is a masterclass. This is really a good issue.
Oh God, yeah. And I do love the fact that Bumblebee and Mal are like, the baby comes first. Mm-hmm. If this is the end, it's going to be the family together. And that right there would be the tough thing to do. Mm-hmm. It's like, are you a hero first? Or are you a family first? And they were like, no, we're going to do this first because both Bumblebee and Mal are both superheroes in their own right. Mm-hmm. So they could be helping with the evacuation. They're doing this. They're going with their family instead. And I understand why they're doing it. And I don't have an issue with it. It's one of those, and I love the fact that Raven, it's like, hey, don't give it a second thought. We understand. Because this is the end. And this is one of those things where like, yeah, I get you. And I do love the fact that they're like, what do we do with Tara? That right there, the power of the page flip. Yeah, because Bumblebee's like, I do have one more question. Now that you're here, what do we do with her? Mm-hmm. Flip the page. What do we do, Tara? Oh, that is awesome.
And wait, that would have been enough.
Yeah.
Like you could have left it there. Layman's like, we're going to go to 11 with this. I love that Raven recognized that Tara was actually awake and listening to them.
Yeah.
And went in there. And I love that Tara's counting on that. Tara's manipulation and her just ability to manipulate. Oh my gosh. It's a Judas Contract. We've done Judas Contract on the show. If you've never read Judas Contract, seek out our episodes on Judas Contract and like join us, like read it, listen to the episodes, and then join us in a conversation about it. This is a Tara who went through Judas Contract.
Yes.
Because she is very much that, because she stayed evil throughout the whole doggone and got worse as it went along. And I love that this is Geoforce's sister. And oh my gosh, is she an evil little one?
Yes, I love, dude, I'll tell you, when you think about Tara, you always wonder, I remember with Judas, with the initial first Judas contract, you wonder, was she manipulated by Deathstroke? No. We 100% had full confirmation. No, she was the manipulator. Then the second round, the most recent Titan story, she definitely was the master manipulator. And
yes.
I love this.
And then Deathstroke was one of those people that will use tools and then discard them.
Yeah. Well, the editor's note. This terrible ex-Titan has been in recovery since being backstabbed by Deathstroke. Again, in Titans 25.
Yeah.
And again, completely, yes. This was absolutely brilliant. I cheered when I saw oh yeah, what are they going to do with her? Because here's the funny thing. If they could trust her, she would be a great ally to have in this in this stuff. Mm-hmm. But you can't trust her.
No.
She 100% will side with Darkseid just because she's
if there's an advantage, right? Well, exactly what you just said. I'm sorry, you put the asterisk on it to say if there's something in it for her. She's an opportunist, totally out for herself. She'd throw the entire planet under the bus to save herself.
Yes, she would.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's again 100% dangerous person that you can't have running loose. And I'm glad that they've got her in her stasis bubble or whatever. We don't actually see exactly what they're doing with her, but I do love the fact.
Well, they're helping her recover.
Right.
The question is why. I'm wondering if they're planning to use her to help terraform a planet or something like that. Because when you think about the nature of her powers, that's where she would be an incredible asset. And there's a reason if you're launching ships into space and you're going to our Battlestar Galactica reference, for example, right. You show up at a place and it's not ready to go for human life. She could help with that.
She could definitely help with that. And she wouldn't do it solely for her own benefit. They're hey, this is the only planet. You do this, we will keep you locked up in stasis. We'll actually let you be a prisoner.
Yeah.
And she would start terraforming it, try to escape, but she would get some of the job done. Or she would sit there and she would reach down to the planet core and say, okay, now we either do things my way or I rip the planet in half. There's many different things that Tara could do, but I did love this little banter back and forth between her and Raven because a lot of people would be creeped out by Raven, but not her. She's manipulating it from the very beginning. He's oh, does Scar talk about me a lot? Or does he just think about me? You can feel his thoughts drifting to me when he's with you. Oh, that is just absolutely brilliant manipulation on her part. Again, she truly is an evil, evil little witch, and I love this.
Yes, I agree with you. Going back to the whole situation where they're back on the Watchtower satellite and they're analyzing the situation. I love that Donna's realizing the importance of speeding everything up. She's we gotta keep moving on this. We're on a time crunch here and recognizing they get past their deadline, there's people dying.
Yeah.
In droves. And that sense of urgency just keeps increasing as we get to see, members of the JSA. We get to see, obviously the Atoms and is that Mercy with them? I think so too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Mercy's full on board with this. Luthor Corp is an active sponsor in the evacuation. So I love the fact that, and again, they're talking we're moving nearly 40 million an hour. Okay. But it's the entire planet. There is a lot more than 40 million people. And it's kind of neat that they're recognizing. And it goes back to Donna's comment of how many billion does that leave us? Just that with a B. We're moving with an M. We've got with a B left.
We talk now just about on our planet, just how much our population is booming across the world and especially in certain locations. And I love that just feels very real here as far as what that looks like. And I love the idea that it's not acceptable to leave anybody behind.
Right.
And that the scrambling is we've got to keep moving. We've got to get everybody off the planet. This is about everybody. And that idea is just, I'm glad we're talking about the Superman issue right after this, because I think it builds off of this concept of everybody. And thematically, where we're at. And I really enjoy that aspect of all of this.
Now, I 100% was so happy to see the truthers who are like, this is all fake, this is all a lie, because we see it. There's no way if in the present day and age, if the heroes came on and said, hey, we all got to evacuate, not everyone would believe it.
Yeah.
There would be the people who 100% would say, this is fake news, this is not real, the soups are lying to us, all that stuff. And I do love the fact that we've got the different people who are saying no. And even the one like, wake up, sheep, had as a sign that says, wake up, sheep.
Sheeple.
Oh, sheeple. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. But first of all, spinning out of the story with Amanda Waller, that makes sense. It also makes sense in today's culture. I mean, we band together in various different groups nowadays, and we're forced into extremist groups, I think. And that's not me taking a political side off of that. It's just kind of a reality. Doesn't matter where you fly right now. You're if you take a stand on anything right now, you're pushed into one group or the other group. And we're kind of engineered as a society to do that right now. You could see this being very much a thing right now. And it's very hard once you're pushed into that group to think outside of it, because you've got a lot of noise surrounding you that is kind of pushing a thought. It's very hard as a society right now to be somewhere in the middle, to try and be objective and try to see multiple viewpoints. And I love that this is a part of this. And I like it that it doesn't beat you over the head either. You know what I mean? I think Layman's doing a very great job of making it feel very real world without going out of his way to force a statement. It just feels real. And I think it leaves you as a reader to think that on your own. To feel that on your own and say, oh, wow, that's really done. Very real.
Oh, God.
I think that's much more effective when you do it that way, because look, I'm going there, but he doesn't beat me over the head with it. He puts it in there in a natural way. And it just works so well in this. And this is, I'm glad, I love when comics reflect life. And it's one of those pieces, people always assume political agendas and things like, there's nothing of that here. This is just what would happen.
Exactly.
Anybody who says that is not what would happen is out of their mind.
Yes. And I love Beast Boy dealing with this, going, how do I handle this? And he's told, you have to do it discreetly. If this turns into a stampede, there's no telling how many casualties will result. He said, discreetly. And I love the look on look on the bear face, because he's in a bear mode right now.
Yes.
And again, brilliant on the artwork, and again, brilliant on the lettering, because the accent always communicating with Donna discreetly is very bold, and he even got the quotes around discreetly with a question mark, and you can hear the discreetly kind of look. Again, I love how this sequence played out, and then we get Beast Girl back from Doom Patrol, and I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
and we get the Beasties back together again.
No capes, no superpowers, no forced evacuation, no rockets, no lies, no mandatory relocation. That's what they're shouting out as their thing. They're right in what they have to do here, because of the fact that if this escalates, if this turns into a fight and a battle, and so your point earlier in the issue, you said there's no battles here. If it escalated into that, you are going to then breed more of this.
Yes.
So they had to handle this very tactfully. I'm actually going to be curious to see where this goes, because we've got multiple issues of the Titans with this. And I'm glad these aren't one-offs. I'm glad we're going to see more of the Titans and what all this looks like. Because what happens with these people on a ship?
Well, I don't know if they're taking them. Because the comment is, we can't make them evacuate, but we can't let them slow things down for others. I'm thinking, Beast Girl put them to sleep. They're just going to leave them there.
Wow.
Yeah. I think that's what they're going to do. Or what they're going to do is they'll put them to sleep and let everybody who wants to leave first.
Yeah. Yeah, I get your point.
Hey, if you guys want to stay on the planet, that's cool with us. We're not going to force you to leave, but don't block the others. I think that is the main mindset. I'm curious. That's something I want, because you mentioned before about, glad this is multiple Titans episodes. Yeah, I want to see what happens in future issues when they get the people off the planet and they have these people who didn't want to go through. Are they just going to say, see ya? Because personally, I would, but I'm not.
But here's the problem. What does that do for the family members that were on the different end? I want to evacuate, but now we've left part of my family behind. Because, I mean, as we are, here's the reality of politics nowadays and people politically charged. People are divided within their families nowadays. It's a very, very real thing. So I just absolutely love all of that. I think this feels very, very today, and you're going to see that. I don't know how much they're going to go there with it. What they've done right here has left us in a place where either they go there because it's where the story they want to tell, or they've just left us wondering that. Yeah. That in and of itself is mission accomplished, because it just really connects with this is happening right now, today, in our country. And I love that with the writing. It's very, very contemporary.
Off-page thinking. I love when books do that for me. And this right here is 100% off-page thinking, because we're both thinking it. We're thinking, what about you got Uncle Joe who's in the audience there, who's transport, but the rest of his family are like, I'm getting on the boat. See ya. Or you get the people who are like, they're on the boat, like, hey, my family's stayed behind. I can't do this. I got to go back. Are they going to let people leave? There's so many different crazy stuff that can happen, especially if you're on a boat that's already taken off and your family's back still on Earth. Because is there going to be transport between the ships? Or, hey, I ended up on Titan's Tower, New York, and my brother's on Titan's Tower, Bloodhaven. Can I get over to Bloodhaven, so my family's together? Sorry, kid, you're stuck here.
And that's something that has just been done so well here. It's those pieces. This is where you flesh out a story, right? And these are stories you can't tell this in DCKO because you need to keep moving the main event over there. These are the interest stories that are going on. If I'm a Titans reader, I can read this. I love that they're giving us a very solid Titans story right here. You really don't have to be reading DCKO to read this. You can be a Titans reader. They've given you everything you need to know about what's going on in the DC universe. And I loved that growing up, where I didn't have the money to be picking up every single event and every single issue relating to it. It was nice sometimes when I had a monthly book that I was collecting where it was coming to my house and the issue came in, the tie-in issue. Sometimes it was done well. Other times, not so good. and then you're like left with questions and not really knowing what's going on. This was really, really strong in that you can read this completely independently. The way that this closed off, I love that we've got this massive evacuation going on. Starfire's the escort, and she encounters Granny Goodness. Yeah. And oh my gosh, I love that because of the urgency of everything that's going around. I forgot that, why would Darkseid's people allow this? And they're not.
They're not allowing it. And again, this was a great way to end a book. Yeah, a great way to end it where you get the page, because we talked about how there was no combat, no action. Okay, next issue, we're going to get some serious fighting. Yeah. One, you got Starfire, who's awesome. I love seeing her throw down.
I do too.
But two, think on that one ship, you've got John. So you got a Superman. You've got Donna. Donna can go into outer space, right? Or does she need suits? I can't remember.
I think she needs something for breathing.
She needs something? Okay. So it's, again, I think this is an outer space fight. So you have to make sure you've got heroes who can fight in outer space.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting to see how they do it. Because right now, we 100% have two up front and ready to rock. You got Superman right there, and you've got a Starfire. But that's a lot of people those two are going up against. So if they don't have any more additional backup, that's going to be an interesting fight.
Yeah. Want to talk Superman number 31?
Yes.
All right. Man of Apocalypse, Part 1. Writers Joshua Williamson. Artists Eddie Barrows and Eber Ferreira. The colorist is Alejandro Sanchez. Letterers Ariana Mayer. The cover artist is Dan Mora. Variant cover artists are Dan Aja, Siba Mara, Jorge Fornes, Ariel Olivetti. Assistant editors Gillian Grant. The editors Paul Kaminsky. Superman created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. Supergirl based on characters created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. Superboy created by Jerry Siegel by special arrangement with the Jerry Siegel family. Apologies for any name butchery because this is a top-notch team. I absolutely love the writing of Joshua Williamson. That's a name very early on in his DC tenure. It just became a name I became very well aware of because I was liking the storytelling. And this art team with his storytelling is just, this is a flagship book. I mean, it looks and feels, everybody involved in this feels like a next level book. This whole Watchtower sequence with Superman right at the beginning, I love that, when we see this is Doomsday. Why should I trust you? And that whole sequence is all about that. Superman's asking all the great questions, and I love that. Superman does try to see the best in people, and we've seen this come up over and over again in our multiple episodes. We've been discussing this. But that doesn't mean that's a blank check. And I love when we see this Superman have this level of balance. I love seeing this. We haven't seen a lot of this out of Superman in this, and we have in some of the issues involving Doomsday. I'm glad we're bringing that up to speed here again, where we're going back and saying, oh, you're asking an awful lot here. And he's not just asking that of Darkseid. I mean, not Darkseid, Doomsday. He's asking of the whole quorum. First of all, Time Trapper, though, there's something you're not telling us. We all know that. Yeah, Time Trapper's leaving things out.
Yes.
And I love that Superman's recognizing it. I love that he's not giving full disclosure. Time Trapper has his own agendas, and he's sprinkling nuggets. He also looks down on people. And I love Superman's recognizing that and calling him to task. And it's something really, really good with this.
Oh, God, yeah. And again, little bits that we've already seen, retelling some stuff that we saw in the lead-up stories, but again, still giving us a nice glimpse onto what's going on inside Clark's head. And I do love the way they did these first couple pages are kind of recaps, but it's still a neat adding into the story because it does take us to those moments before the fortress. And I love the fact that you and I had this discussion. Are there any records of this? Are there any? And we kept throwing it back and forth. And we hadn't read this issue when we were both debating whether this actually existed or not. And I love the fact that that wasn't a throwaway. It wasn't just something that there was actually a point that it was being told in the lead up stories. And I love seeing Clark in the fortress, talking to his son, asking him questions about King Omega. There's no records. And he's just probing with his father, like, what's going on here? What about this? Tell me. And I do love that Clark is going to his father, asking him all about this stuff, about the records. Is there anything in this? Just trying to get information. And the final piece that really does convince Clark, yes, you're doing the right thing. He's like, what if you had the ability to build larger ships? What would you have done? I would have saved everyone. And I love that notion of I would have saved everyone. Coming from Jor-El, Clark, of course, is like, I got to save everybody. And I love the fact that they did that. They gave us that great sequence, of Clark questioning, are there any records of this in Krypton? Because again.
And the answer is no, though, according to Jor-El.
According to Jor-El, because Jor-El is based on the official records of Krypton, of Jor-El's notes. Jor-El's the only one who knew about this. Yeah. I love that. This was outstanding writing. And again, a great way to have that really cool moment. Clark always has to have those moments where he's going to wisdom. He's trying to get some understanding on what's going on. I love seeing these pages.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's interesting about this, and we're going to have to talk about as the issue goes on, Time Trapper. There's an interesting thing here that's been brought up before about Time Trapper being the alpha. And we'll talk about that. Let's wait till we get to a little bit more about that reveal, because there's a conversation I want to have there about that, because it's setting up an interesting situation here. Because we keep talking about King Omega and the power of King Omega. What does alpha mean?
Exactly. And I got a theory.
I do too. I think
I'm willing to bet you and I probably have the same theory.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's you got to question motivations there.
Yep.
Parasite had a great sequence here. And I love that Mercy's asking the question, now that you've tasted from this, now that you've tasted from Doomsday, will anything else be satisfying? And what will that do? We talk about addicts, like we were talking about Roy last issue. Okay. Parasite is very much an addict.
Yes.
And now you've drank from the amazing fountain of Doomsday. Is anything going to touch that? And you don't know. Parasite and Doomsday, Parasite and Superman, I'm sorry, when Superman walks into the room, The idea of, I'd high five you, buddy, but, well, I love that. That was such a great sequence.
And I'm so happy that Parasite didn't die. Yeah. Remember, you see the scene where Doomsday rips him in half.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, and that affected everybody. Everybody's like, Rudy. And the fact that, and again, we get a comic book explanation. The fact that he absorbed so much of that Doomsday energy that they're able to kind of like stitch it back together again, and he lived.
Yeah.
Again, good explanation, realistic reasoning. I loved seeing this. And again, I do love the fact that they're back to being called LexCorp, no longer SuperCorp. Because that whole fallout with Lex Luthor when everything that happened there, so they're back to being LexCorp again. But this right here, again, brilliant usage of Rudy, because again, Parasite is one of those villains that he's kind of like Clayface. Yeah. Where you understand what he's doing, but you feel bad for the guy because he didn't ask to be a parasite. That's just the nature of who he is. And as long as you keep him well fed, he actually works well with others, Mm-hmm. But you got to keep that energy in him. You got to keep him fed. Once he starts getting hungry, it's not a good day for you. So I love that.
In Houston, we got a problem.
Yep.
Because of what's happened with him. So I actually love everything about how that's playing out because there's a genuine reality to it. I love that Mercy and LexCorp still has the same resources that they had before. She's like, well, you may have cut off communications from the JLU, but we know that you guys have been active, working with the Titans to prepare some sort of evacuation. So we got to work ourselves. I love the super ship was something that they were building back when they were working with Superman.
Yeah.
And using the bottle technology, and they planned it for a very different purpose, which is great because I like the explanation of, we didn't just do this in 7 days because you guys all of a sudden are doing all this. We had this in play for a different purpose. Yeah. But Superman's like, hey, if we work together on this one, can we mass produce these and get 12 of them? And she doesn't know, like she knows enough to be dangerous, but doesn't know the whole situation. And I love that Superman's got to call on any resource on the planet. It's like, listen, our issues right now, they got to be set aside. We need your resources. And I'm going to trust to bring you up to speed right now on what's going on as much as he can trust them. And it's such a good sequence.
Well, and you think back to DCKO, first issue, they talked about how LexCorp, Wayne Tech, Quaint Industries, all the Star Labs, all are working together to build these ships. Well, these are the ships right here that they're talking about.
Yep.
LexCorp already had the first one built. That's why they're able to mass produce these things. The Titan Towers are retrofitted to take a bunch of people. So that's how they're able to do that. It's kind of a neat setup. And again, they're explaining how they could get so much done in such a short period of time. They already had the groundwork laid out. They were already beginning to do this. So I like, again, some further explanation. Again, in comic book universe, you have to have a certain suspension of disbelief. Could they actually do this in 7 days? Probably not. But in the comic book universe, they're giving us enough to say this is why they're able to do it. This is why they have a technology beyond what we currently have in the real world. So they explain it away and they give us a plausible explanation that doesn't make me say, too far-fetched. I'm 100% all on board. I completely like this. And again, this is not the rest of the story. And again, brilliant usage of a tie-in. Because one, the story stands on its own, just like with Titans. The story stands on its own, but it's further strengthening the DCKO event.
Yeah.
If you didn't read DCKO, if you didn't read any of the pre stuff, and you're just reading Superman, you're getting a solid Superman story here.
Yep.
You're learning some cool stuff. You got to agree. These are great Superman moments. This is a great Superman title. I'm loving this book. Before this, currently, I'm looking forward to the future stuff. But again, this is how you do a nice tie-in event where it doesn't throw off your current book. It keeps the story going. It further further development of these different characters. I love this. And I love, again, Lois and Clark together. Whenever you put these two together with a writer who knows how to write them, you're just like, yes, this is good.
This is true husband and wife dialogue, though. I like that she's just not, yes, dear. She's bringing up some really strong facts. And sitting there saying, you mean Old Man Doomsday, the guy who killed you? This is what he wanted all along, for you to go along with some insane plan that he had. And I love that she's like calling it out and saying it for what it is. And then she's the one that goes, listen, you're planning to lose. Like everything you're doing right now. And Superman's like, we could. And he's right to do what he's doing. Yep. But I love that she's just laying it out on the table that this is what you're doing right now. And she's come back saying, listen, it can't just be me. Like the decisions that you're making, which is a selfless act on Lois's part, because it's very typical for a husband to prioritize their wife on that end and vice versa. I mean, so I love that she's sitting here saying you've got responsibilities beyond that. That's what she's doing there in that dialogue is not easy to do. And I like the way that that's written because it acknowledges that. And that adds a reality to it too and adds more strength to Lois Lane. Yeah, because they're very real emotions. It's not just some simple kind of like, Clark, it can't just be me and leave it at that. There's an interchange there that is really, really strong.
Oh, God, yeah. And again, how many times have I said it that the reason I love Lois and Clark together is because Lois Lane is so awesome. Yeah. And you've got to give us the rock star Lois Lane. You got to give us this character who would stand toe-to-toe with a man who's got godlike power.
Yeah.
Why does he love her? You're seeing it right here. You're seeing just her conviction, her strength of character, who she is. She is Lois freaking Lane. And I love when we get these writers who especially know how to write their relationship, but also know how to write Lois's strength. And then, just when I think this is the best it could be, you flip the page and Ma and Pa Kent are there. I'm like, yes! We have the full trifecta. We've got the full family there. Yeah. I love the fact that they made sure to bring in Ma and Pa Kent in on this. This is the full Kent family. And I was like, yes.
Yeah. And I really enjoy seeing them there. I love the way that Eddie Barrows draws them. I love the idea that there's an age to them. It's clear that they're older, but it's clear that they're active as well. These are people that work a farm and all those. So, I mean, you've got that kind of look about them, that there is a physical fitness to them that is organic because of the type of work that they do. And I just really like it. They came in at the right time. I love the way that they were kind of forgotten because of everything. I mean, the end of the world's there, but they showed up at a point in time where he needs them. And we get to see a fleshing out of the sequence that we got to see in DC with the hanging with the families. It was a longer sequence with Superman in there. And I love that it's a longer sequence here because we get to see all of that play out as well. The build to it and the continuation of it.
And I love the fact that the one panel with them hanging out in the park that we saw in the build up in DCKO, they recreate that image here. Yeah, so this is, if you read DC right now, here's where this book is taking place in that event. I thought that for me was a really cool, because you and I both, we like to know, when do these things fit into play? When does this fit into the flow? Well, I now 100% know where this is at. And I thought that was, again, another thank you for that.
Superman, one of the things that this fleshes out really is that moment with Lois and Clark after the time with the family. Where, the Dawn's-Day Knuckles, and we get to see Lois groan at that again. Don't make jokes. I love that she's talking about people she doesn't trust, but Superman has this moment where he says this, and I think it's a great line. I can do this tournament, but not if my mind is preoccupied with everyone here. I need to know you're all safe. And that part works really well here. It's this idea of, listen, if you need me to focus on this tournament, if everyone needs me to focus on this tournament, I need to know this box is checked. Otherwise, he's going to be divided. And he knows himself. And I love that Lois is sitting here. They will be, Clark. Keep your ears open so you can hear us cheer you on. And I love that she's trying to comfort him. She's trying to be a rock, trying to be that solid person behind him, giving him that motivation that he needs, but also the support that he needs. She's a piece of support right there. And there's a strength in what she's doing. Because here's the thing. It's got to be scary. Everything that she's, so she's dealing with a scary situation just like he is. It looks different. Because she can't be with him. She can't be helping him on that piece. She's seen him die before. Now he's heading into a situation where he's questioning whether or not he can win. And the whole thing of planning this is because of the fact that they probably can lose. This is different. This goes beyond Death of Superman in what's going on here, and I love that it feels different. The flavor of this it feels epic and big.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. And again, I love the sequence of all the ships taking off and all the things like that. And, of course, is Lois laying on a ship? He's like, wait, all ships are accounted for except for one. Lois, what are you up to? And I cheered when I read this because she's like, making a small detour. Something Superman said has been bugging me, and I smell a story.
I got to go back a page, though.
Oh.
When you take a look at the page where there's the sun in the background, Superman kissing Lois, and then Superman flying away with that determined look on his face. First of all, it looks like something out of a movie.
Yeah.
The sequence with the two of them is gorgeous. I mean, that is a piece of artwork right there. That is a beautiful, beautiful piece of artwork. And there's stuff that's poster worthy or spotlighted. That sequence, they put some extra time on that sequence to make that look like what it is, and it shows. I mean, that's something where we put some spit polish on that artwork.
There's a couple favorite sequences of Lois and Clark flying and kissing and all that I've had. It's always like one of my favorites is always after he dies and comes back.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole Return of Superman, there's that little bird tapping on Lois's window, tapping on the window. It's like, dang it, that bird. And the final time she throws it open and you just see the big red S. And then he swooshes her up into the air. Yeah, I still can remember reading that sequence. And I still could picture it in my head. This is another one of those where you can really, again, it's the art team who's like, hey, we're going to spend a little bit of time on it. So I'm really glad you went to this and brought this up because I agree with you. This one, I understand. I love the tenderness, and then you get that look, and you don't see Soup angry. You don't see this kind of like edge to Superman sometimes. So we've got all right, it's gut check time look on Superman's face.
The Superman movie, going back to where you were going with this, and I didn't mean to derail you, but we go back to that. The Superman movie did a great job of really broadcasting Lois's interview skills and recognizing that Lois just brings that reporter's tenacity to the situation. And I love that she's smelling a story and she's got to dig into it. She's the only one that can have this conversation with Jor-El, knowing that Jor-El is a construct of sorts, but knowing that there may be something to dig through here. And every answer that he's giving, she is following through with just digging deeper, finding that loophole, finding that one question that is going to get through all of this. And I love where that all went, because we're seeing this happen in real time while Superman's having the first initial battle. They're still in that sequence where they haven't gotten through the portal yet.
Right.
And I love in real time, we're seeing what was happening. What was Lois doing during this time? And we flash back and we got exactly what I was hoping for with this. She got Lara.
Yes.
And I love that whole introduction that we got with Lara comes around full circle, and we get to see it right here playing off where she's able to reveal some things, not because Lara wouldn't know everything. So I love that she's revealing some more tidbits that are here that Jor-El wouldn't have known, and that wouldn't be a legal record. And I love how that sequence plays out. It's a beautiful, beautiful sequence in the I love the fortress. I love when we do this. I'm glad it's such a part of this.
Oh God, yeah. And again, we both were wondering, is this going to be somehow Clark? And again, we both threw out that maybe Clark, well, at least I know I threw out maybe Clark would talk to his mother about this. No, it's Lois. And again, this is even better than me having Clark have that moment with his mother. It's Lois having the moment. And it's because Lois is asking the questions that triggered the mother's construct kick in. And again, I do love the fact that the mother and Lois have a different kind of conversation. And it is, she's like, she even comes in, you love my son. When we send Kal-El away, I hope he would find happiness, safety. I hope he would find you. And I love that's the opening of Lara. It's not what can I do for you, Bride of Kal-El, like Jor-El had. It's personalized.
Yeah.
It's, you love my son. Let me talk to you. And because she started bringing up the right questions of the forbidden stuff, that's where we get her assessment, where we get the final God and the dark Omega presence that wanted to control, the final God. Our scientists hoped to create a champion to stop him, to change the future. but for there to be an Omega, there must be an Alpha. And I love the fact that there must be an Alpha, and she's hypothesizing that Doomsday was created to be that Alpha. Doomsday, with his recreation, his rebirth, are a direct opposition to everything the King Omega is. And I love the fact that she's thrown out there, you've got your Omega, you've got your Alpha. Doomsday's your Alpha. And again, Lois is like, Clark's got to know this. Because she's immediately thinking, this is the secret that Doomsday was keeping from you.
And does not want Clark to know.
Right.
Because of the fact that that's also a quest for power.
Yes.
Because if you're going to be an Alpha to King Omega, there's something that's going to generate that power set, and Time Trapper's looking for that. So it's something, until this issue, we were speculating on there being another in this, not recognizing that one's been in our face all along. And so it's an interesting sort of piece that's going on here. The Lara, see, and this is the danger of Superman. If Superman wins, the Alpha's still there, because he becomes King Omega, and the Alpha now becomes Doomsday. So it's Superman versus Doomsday in that scenario. So it's interesting. I want to talk about the Lara construct, because, first of all, I love the continued fleshing out of Lara and giving Lara a stronger backstory, which they've done over the years, to make her more than just the wife in the background. She's got her own skill set that she brings. But this is also a mother who's recognizing we've given him a lot of facts, and we're using the father to deliver knowledge and information there. But at some point in time, my son might need that source of comfort, right? And I love that this construct was crafted in a way that it could give a mother's comfort and a mother's feel, where her first question, the construct's first question off of that is, because this is an AI, it's coming back and going, you love my son. And she's reacting to that. Not a real person, but built and designed to react with conveying an emotion that her son would need, even though it's a fake creation. And I really love the idea. When we talk about AI today and the realities of AI, a lot of times it's easy when you look at these sequences with Jor-El and Lara to think you were talking to Jor-El and Lara. We never have been. We've been talking to AI, and it's a danger, right? Not the danger of AI, but it's well, I guess there is a little bit of a danger of AI, like not recognizing this isn't a human. Yeah, I mean, so I guess this has been there. I mean, the imagination of creators, they've had this here all along with this. Wow.
Well, and the funny thing is, like, this is such an advanced technology. These are this alien advanced technology. Our AI is starting to get emotional responses. Our AI they're starting to have AI companions out there.
Programmed emotional responses.
Right. Programmed. Mm-hmm. So but we're at the first generation of this kind of stuff in present day society. Again, it is kind of neat seeing this, knowing that our current society and the real world are able to have the alpha version of what we are seeing from Krypton. That always is something that always makes me smile. It also scares the heck out of me, I'll be honest with you, but that's a whole nother conversation. But it does make me smile when the comic books and the real world starts getting stuff from the comic books. It's kind of like when we started getting stuff from Star Trek. The reason cell phones were flip phones were because of Star Trek. And the automatic doors in grocery stores came about because of the automatic doors and stuff like that. This is a future kind of thing, an automatically open door. Wow. That's neat, which is now second nature to all of us. And I love the fact that when you get these things from these stories, from comic book, movies, TV shows, and whatnot, that get pulled into the real world, it does make me go, oh, that is cool. That is cool. And speaking of pulling into the real world,
Prime.
Dude, okay, I'll tell you right now, did not see that coming.
I did not either.
Did not 100%, but I cheered, especially because Lois is like, Clark, Ron Clark. I'm like, yes. I cheer. Dude, this is outstanding. I love this.
Wait, and and I'm going to continue to chant for Eddie Barrows here. This is the entire creative team, because my gosh, the ink and color work. I love the look of Prime when he's like Ron Clark and he's laying there. I mean, just that sequence. I love the outfit. I love the costume, everything about the design. They have barely any time to start talking before Sunboy shows up, which I did not see where that was going, so that Sunboy is going to send that blast. And I love that Prime's looking at us going, hey, what's that? You forgot about the last page reveal, and we're getting Superwoman back. Yes!
Dude. Oh my God. I'll tell you, I cheered with this. These last couple pages, I was chooping and hollering. And just when you think it's at one point, the power of the page flipped. Because everything you said about Prime, I love the look, how he's talking to, how Prime's talking to me. I managed to hold off Darkseid's army, but there are too many of them. I know what happened to the rest of the Legion, all of the Legions. So maybe we've got some backup coming. I don't know, but I do love.
I don't know that we have backup yet. I think what this might be the quest for getting the Legion.
Right.
Like, so I don't know that maybe we're saying the same thing. They're not just like sitting there waiting for this. I think he knows a potential solution to the Legion problem.
We are saying the exact same thing.
Yeah.
100%. He knows how to get to him.
Yeah.
But can't right now. And especially now.
Or how to perhaps stop what has been done.
Right. Now, I do love the fact that we have, again, like you said, that's the Superboy Prime, the last page reveal. What are you smiling about? You flip the page and there's Superwoman. And you remember last issue, we were talking about how many space combats do we have?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? We got another Kryptonian. We got 2 more Kryptonians to add to the mix. But we also have the Legion. So not only do we have Darkseid's minions, we have the Evil Legion.
Right.
You know, so now things are getting even worse for our heroes as they're trying to leave planet. You know, so I love how this played out. I was like, oh my God, this is absolutely brilliant. And once again, artwork on these last 2 pages showing the evil Sunboy. Mm-hmm. I absolutely love the look of him. This is absolutely wonderful. And even in the looks on Prime's face, and when he's got that little smirk on his face, and then when he's saying, hey, you blasted her with your sun powers, you dork. Superwoman's back. And the look on his face, I'm like, yes.
But the look on his face is a look you wouldn't see on Superman's face.
No.
And that's something where I'm building off of what you're saying here, because I'm just nodding along. But I love the fact that Prime is has so much personality through dialogue and through the visual style, where yes, he's Superman. Yes, he visually looks like Superman. But when visually they're able to take somebody who looks so close to our main hero and yet make it so clear it is not him.
Yeah.
It really works. It's not just the costume differences, which I love the costume differences. It's the way he carries himself. It's the look on his face. It's those type of things. They're subtle and sometimes in your face in all the right ways that just show a different, strong personality. I love everything about how the artwork worked out with that. This is gorgeous. This is the kind of stuff I want oversized. You know, funny part is I'm going to want DCKO in like a big oversized collection, but these Superman issues, because of Eddie Barrow's artwork, and the whole art team. By the way, I keep saying Eddie Barrows, and I do not mean to be dismissive of the rest of the art team. This all works together because you have got a strong art team here. So it's Eddie Barrows, it's the inker, it's the colorist. I mean, just so much of that toning, shading, everything. Wait, Sunboy's powers being there. There is a filter. There is a Sunboy filter over all of the artwork after Sunboy's introduced into all of this. When you look at the look on Prime's face with the smirk that we're talking about, there is a Sunboy filter to all of that because he's exuding a lot of energy there. Even Lois's, where she's like flying up there, you see there's a Sunboy filter over all of that. That is incredible color work there. It just looks so good.
God, yeah.
It's just really, really well done. And this is going to be a testament to what they're able to do in comics with color work. When you do animated features, I love animation. And so this sounds like I'm knocking animated features. I'm so not. But one thing comics always seem to have an edge over animation on is when you've got teams like this, they're able to do something with the artwork, with toning and shading in a way that is really, really hard to replicate in animation. And this is something where I'd love to see an animated feature of this, and I really want to see it, and I will love it if it's done really well. But one thing they're going to have a tough time capturing is that look. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so cool. And comic artists are able to do something in a way that is really hard to replicate.
And once again, we got to throw out the lettering.
Yes.
I did love the fact that when Superwoman is back, it's big and bold like her cover when they had her on the cover. And when they put it on the cover, it's, again, everything you're saying, I'm like nodding my head, yes, yes, yes. I love the fact that this issue right here really got me thinking, what's going to happen next?
Yes, yeah.
That is, again, what's going to happen next in DCKO, but what's going to happen next in the Superman title? Because they don't really technically need to have Clark in the title. They've got Superboy, they've got Superwoman, they've got them fighting off the Legion. We saw in Titans, they're fighting off Granny Goodness and all of the other Darkseid minions. There's some massive fights coming up in the next issue.
We got Prime.
Yeah. So I am so pumped for the next issue.
If this is a Prime and Lois book, I'm ready to read it.
Oh, big time. I'm all in it.
Yeah. Did you end up reading on the DC app the Flash and Fantastic Four crossover?
No, I did not.
It's on the DC app right now.
Okay.
So if you go, it's one of those DC Goes, so it scrolls, a little differently.
Yeah.
But it's part of this partnership, this growing partnership that they've got with Marvel. And there's one that's going to be on the Marvel app. It's Thor and Shazam. That one I'm not 100% sure. I think I'm almost positive it's a Thor one. I thought it was Shazam, but maybe in my head I'm connecting two together. But I like that they're continuing to find clever ways to do partnerships. So I hope this eventually sees print, and maybe it's supposed to. I don't. It was one of those things I ended up catching. It's fun. It's a fun story, and when you think about Barry and Reed and all of that, you can see why that would be a logical pairing.
Yes.
So it's a super cool one. But that leads us into talking about the Flash number 26, our DCKO tie-in. Impulse Control Part 1, written by Mark Waid and Christopher Cantwell. Art by Vasco, it's Georgiev. Colors by Matt Herms. Letters by Buddy, Beaudoin, and cover by Dan Mora. Variant covers by Mark Spears, Vasco, and I'm going to horribly butcher his last name if I do it. Editor Chris Rosa, group editor Paul Kaminsky. Superman created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. Supergirl based on characters created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster by special arrangement with the Jerry Siegel family. Mark Waid on Flash. Enough said.
Yes. Enough said.
This costume, I'm going to say it again, and I said it on last episode, how much I'm digging the Flash's costume right now. I love Wally's costume. I love Wally. I love seeing this. There's something about it. It just looks sleek and cool. This art team does a really good job with the sense of speed and motion, which is something that we say a lot with Flash, but I like that everyone's got their own little spin on it, right? It's not like what we've seen before. Like there's a Scott Collins style in how Scott Collins does his speedsters. This sure has elements of that kind of thing that we've seen before, but this has another sense of velocity. And I do like that about Flash artists, that they manage to put their own little spin on what speed looks like. Take what works before, but put a flavor on it. And this is the Arizona sequence opening up in the beginning is just really, really sharp, especially dropping us into a situation where Flash is going up against the Alchemist, and we get to see that initial battle. It was really cool.
Yeah. Well, and here's the funny thing with me and the Flash. I was not caught up on Flash.
So you didn't read 20 to 25 that they reference.
I did not read 20 to 25. I am in the upper teens. Mm-hmm. So there is a slight spoiler in this of that story arc, but not a major spoiler. Right. But I jumped right in with not having read 20 to 25, and I completely followed everything going on here. Was 100% enjoying it. Now, the other story that I'm not caught up on is JSA. And so this is a secondary spoiler warning.
Yes.
To anybody before we get into it. There is a major JSA issue number 6 spoiler.
Yeah.
So if you have not read JSA issue number 6, you have been warned you are going to get a major spoiler in that title.
Because we have to talk about that.
Oh, we 100% have to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to make sure, again, we're a spoiler podcast, but we're not jerks. We don't want to ruin it. So if someone's reading JSA...
Hang on. We don't try to be jerks, but
Right, we don't try to.
that statement's subjective.
We both have people in our lives who would 100% say, no,
Yes.
you are a jerk.
I've been called worse.
Use other worse. Yes, we've definitely been called worse.
Yeah.
But seriously,
That's another disclaimer. It's like,
so you all have been warned. It's JSA number 6. If you haven't read it and you don't want to spoil the events that happens in JSA 6, okay. So now let's continue on with the conversation.
well, and the Flash sense of speed. Like, here's the problem Wally's got right now. I am the fastest man alive again, but there is the problem of what is the right amount of speed? Because if he goes too fast, he's going to jump right in. And actually zap out of, which I love this. I've always loved the sense in the Flash of the Speed Force, and Wally's powers are a different level. And this idea of I can run faster than I am right now. Jumping is a problem. If I jump and I'm going at a certain speed, I could just zap out, which if you're trying to be effective, I love that there's that sense of you don't want to go too slow because then you're going to be all Wile E. Coyote. And I loved that little line. It was so cool because you can just splat against the wall, but you don't want to go too fast. And then all of a sudden you're no longer there and the villain's gotten away.
Well, and I love the fact that he's got to take in effect the curvature of the Earth. And he could actually reach escape velocity and he could run right off the planet.
Right.
That for me is an absolutely brilliant thing. And that's something, I'll be honest with you, you never really think about that kind of stuff with the speedsters. And I loved this moment of when he's going up and he's keeping up with a alchemist very easily. But again, he doesn't want to go too fast. And he gets to the point, do I run? Do I jump? Run, jump, run, jump, run, jump. And he's got to make this in a trillionth of a second decision, because that's how fast he's going. And he goes with the jump instead of the run.
Read Wade's Run. I'm saying this to everybody listening to this right now. If you never read Wade's Run and you want to know why it's so beloved, it's this kind of stuff. He was exploring all of this during his run. It continues to be built upon. This stuff is so good. He got into really what it meant to be this fast and growing faster, because there's multiple story arcs where the Flash power set really increases, and if you want to know more about the Speed Force, Wade's Run really opens up so much of what was going on with the Speed Force. John's built on it. I mean, it was built on afterwards, but foundationally, if you're like, I want to read really good Flash stuff, go there, read that. You'll love it, love it, love it.
Yeah, and again, you think about it, there is one less speedster. Barry doesn't have his powers, so his connection to the Speed Force will be increased.
Sure.
It's not spread out. So Wally is faster than he ever was before. Plus, Wally always had a better connection with the Speed Force than Barry did. Wally, going back to some of the classic stuff, and I've gone through, because you keep saying, read Wade Run, read Wade 1. I completely agree with you. Read the stuff I went through. I read some of that stuff. There is some really cool Flash writing that happens there.
Did you read Terminal Velocity yet?
No, I have not gotten to that part.
It's a good storyline. Very good storyline. So yeah, there's so much.
There's so much out there.
I'm jealous of you getting to read it for the first time and going through it, because it was magic.
Yeah. That
was one I had delivered to my door.
Oh, really?
I did a subscription. Cool. There was a point in time in college where I just had, as often happens, I had no funds, and there were 3 books I was collecting at that time. I was collecting Batman, I was collecting The Flash, and I was collecting Starman, and I had them delivered monthly to my house from a DC subscription.
Yeah.
And the reason why I did that is they were so cost effective. I asked them for Christmas gifts. So I was like, I want to keep reading, and I had no budget. I mean, it was just those years. They were lean years, and it was in order to ensure monthly reading and that I was still getting those books monthly. I was getting them via subscription. I still went to the comic shop, but I wasn't able to go every week like I was before. It was painful.
Yeah.
Well, I could go, but I didn't know I had money for other things that needed to be. The college years are very costly.
Yeah, those were a rough year.
Buying books and stuff like that. It was,
Yeah.
it was actually, I was glad because my dad had me have some skin in the game. So like books and things like that. My dad took good care of me, but as far as doing that, it was a smart move. It kept me moving forward, which it's an important piece. But this whole idea of, I love when he's like jumping into the air and then fall hard and fall fast. And I love that he took out the alchemist that way. It was just interesting to see Wally use momentum and velocity in just a very different way. You're right. There's a slight spoiler to what happened with issues 20 to 25. It doesn't spoil much, but it just gives you kind of an end. The dude's been through some stuff.
Yes.
And then we flash the Watchtower, which takes us back up to where we were in the Omega Act. Just a chance to see the Flash, who knows he's seen some of the things that Time Trapper / Doomsday, I keep wanting to call him Darkseid, Time Trapper / Doomsday wanted him to see. Again, now, I'm going to be honest with you. After the stuff that we were reading in the last Superman issue, I'm very much questioning Time Trapper.
And again, yeah, and we've been questioning him since day one, and now we've got even more. Is this just all a giant play that Doomsday is doing?
Yes.
Yes. But here's something that I was thinking about.
I don't know that 100% for sure.
Right.
I'm sitting there saying, if you were to ask me right now, you're a betting man, which way you're leaning? I'm waiting for the swerve.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the double cross. And we know there's multiple double crosses coming down the line because through DCKO event and all that, we know multiple characters are going to swerve. But the question is, how is Time Trapper going to swerve? How is Doomsday going to do the swerve? Is it going to be the stab in the back? Is it going to be a swerve that, oh my God, I didn't see him helping the hero? I don't know where this story is going to go. And I love, again, they do a nice tie-in to the big event, showing where this takes place. Because again, they gave us the great editor's note about where this is happening in Justice League, the Omega Act special, but then they're like, but we got to continue the Flash story. We've got to continue the story. If you're just reading Flash, you need to have your story continue. And so they're not screwing over the current readers. And I love that. And again, we go to Impulse. Now, I'm one of those, I've got a weird relationship when it comes to Impulse. Okay. I love Impulse, but I also love Bart Allen as the mature Flash. So for me, it's always tough.
Did you read any of the Impulse issues?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But you read that after you read Bart as Flash, right?
I read it after. Exactly. Remember, for the longest time, Bart was my Flash.
Right.
I read mature Bart, who as Flash carried on the moniker of Flash and all that stuff.
I get it.
So I love mature Bart, but I also love Impulse. I absolutely just love Impulse. So in a way, I'm very happy that we have Impulse back, but I do miss mature, responsible Bart.
This is also a Bart that you would argue it feels like he's before the Teen Titans run by Johns.
Yes,
where he had some maturing in that run too. So yeah, there's some interesting pieces as far as Bart's time placement. I do love him with Irie here, because he is that cousin. You get why, like he's fun to hang with, right? Because he gets you into the kind of trouble you wouldn't normally get into on your own. So, like, she would not be doing this if he wasn't around. She would not be in this ship right now.
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
You sure about this, Bert? No.
Wait. Oh my God. Dude's like, is it gonna fly this? I can't even drive a car. It's like such a great sequence. And the look on her face is like he's talking about there. I just think we deserved a little bit of fresh air. And she's like, there's no air in space.
Again, I love this. I love this Bart. I love what he's doing. And then I love the fact that it is Superman who stops like, okay, come on. Yeah, no, let's get back. We've got a meeting.
Superman stopping the ship was way cool. Yeah. Because I love all of a sudden to get an emergency alert and it's Clark one-handed. Because here's the thing, Clark didn't just stop that cold. Clark had to slow that down because otherwise they would have been crushed.
Yes.
I love that there's a whole bunch of stuff that happened there that we didn't see, but in your mind, how that went. And I love stuff like that. It was really good. Bart with Max. So this is where, if you're going to ask me, what do I love about Impulse? It's him and Max together. And Max mentoring him and trying to train him in those sequences. It plays out, seeing Max now, you have to have this established in this issue in order to appreciate where it goes later. Because if you haven't read a ton of Max and Impulse together and you haven't seen what that looks like, this is a great establishing moment that makes sense.
And again, I love the fact that Max is trying to give him some wise advice, and Bart just doesn't get it. He's like, I can't tell if that's wise or just clever. He's like, okay, shirk at my advice all you want. No, I mean it. I can't tell. This again, it's one of the things I do like about Bart. Again, what I like about Impulse is just this kid who's constantly hot wired up and who's constantly, it's the squirrel kind of mindset.
Yeah.
And he's not focusing. He lacks that focus that the mature Bart had. And even like the Bart who hung out with the Titans eventually got. By the end of his Titans run, Impulse wasn't Impulse anymore. He was a kid Flash. He was a Flash. He had that maturity, and he actually was able to utilize the power of the Speed Force to actually process stuff at a quicker pace and all that cool stuff. But this version is kind of like pulled from time in a way. And I do love the fact that as Max is giving him this advice, he's like, wait, is that Doomsday? No, not in my house. Once again, it's Bart not thinking. Doomsday's standing there with all the Justice League around him. Nobody's attacking him, Bart. Why would you think you need to?
I love that Flash stops him and Bart gets her. I think they just constantly know that they have to stop Impulse.
Yeah, they have to keep an eye on him. Who's watching Impulse?
Yes, it is very much that. We get the recap of what's been going on with Time Trapper, which I think is very well put. There again, respect to the readers of the individual book. Don't overdo it. Don't beat them over the head, because it's just enough for those of us that have been reading the larger story. I love the Speedster huddle. Where now we're seeing what we saw in the Superman title. What did this look like for the Speedsters now that they've been brought up to speed? And Wally connecting with an event from his childhood with a bully. And what that whole sequence played out like is pretty key, because this is going to be a connecting thread between him and Bart later, who Bart was raised in VR. Yeah. And hacked his VR. So that way, he kicked himself to 11. This is where we do find out about the reveal, because we see Jay Garrick there, and Jay's motivation, because Wally's questioning the tournament. Like, should we be doing this? And is this the way to go? And Jay's all in. Jay's like, listen, it could work. We fight Darkseid's way. We find a champion. And he's like, damn it, I'm ready. After what happened with Wildcat, that Wildcat just died recently in JSA number 6, he's like, listen, I'm ready. I mean, he's got that pent up anger and that feeling, because when you lose somebody close to you, it's powerless, right? We've all lost people in our lives, and when you lose them, you want to somehow control that. You want to make it better. You want to make it right. And the frustration that builds in all of us, no matter what it looks like, is there's an anger. You want to control something you can't. So this for him is an outlet. And I loved I like when we get to see different motivations for people entering into this. Jay's is real clear. Jay's got a pent up energy that he needs to work out. He's got did you see, you were talking Rocky Balboa, right?
Yeah.
The demon that he needed to finally unleash and that type of thing. Jay's got a demon right now. He's got very Rocky Balboa moment, which is appropriate to tie into Wildcat. But I like that sequence because it feels natural.
Yeah, and it was funny because as I'm reading this, I was like, oh, okay, cool, Speedster huddle. And it was funny, in my head, when I saw when we read DCKO, I was wondering why Jay was the representative of the Flashes. Mm-hmm. And I was playing out in my head a couple of different variations. And one of the things I was thinking is, Jay's like, of all of them, Jay is the combat veteran. He's the one who's actually been in combat. So I'm like, okay, they're going with that. They're going with the experience, that kind of type of fighting. We learn out it's other reasons. And when I'm reading this, when I got to that point where I'm like, I'm furious since the Wildcat was killed. And I was like, what? Because again, I hadn't read JSA. I'm like, oh, what? And there's a note there that says Wildcat took his last stand in JSA number 6. And I'm like, oh, wow. I'm like, now immediately I've got to get caught up and read JSA to find out what actually happened. But I love the fact that is the reason he's in there. We've got our explanation as to why Jay was the one who ended the tournament, not Wally. And I was like, oh, that is so cool. That plus there's other reasons why Wally couldn't get there, which we're about to get into in a couple minutes in this issue, but still, I loved seeing this with this reasoning. And again, I immediately want to know what happened. It didn't, not knowing this going into this, it's going to be kind of the shock and surprise of his death is not going to be as big there, but I still don't know the circumstances behind it. So when we're done talking today, I'm going to read it. So, and y'all can't see, but Sean's just nodding his head saying, yes, you want to read it. Mm-hmm. And I'm really looking forward to that.
Have you read it? Have you touched that series at all yet?
I read issue 1.
Okay. Yeah. It's good.
Yeah. So it was one of those things where I read issue 1, never got back to it. So I got to get back to it, obviously.
I'm a JSA junkie. So, I mean, that's been a must read for me, but it's worth anybody listening to this. If you haven't been reading JSA, it's a very good series.
Now, I also like the debate beyond that debate when I love the fact that Iris is able to, she chimes in. She's in on the huddle. And I do love the fact that she's throwing out there saying, hey, she throws out the concept of if we're slowing down time, won't we be more powerful? Won't we be faster? And that for me, that was a really cool idea. And I do like the fact that Max was throwing out the idea of, hey, maybe we could do this timey-wimey thing that the Time Trapper and World Forger are talking about with this alternate universe kind of thing. Maybe that'll work, and I do like that we get this debate, but I especially love the fact that Wally's like, time is literally on fire. Time Trapper showed me. I've seen it. So this whole timey-wimey problem isn't going to work. I love the fact that we do get an explanation as to why they 100% don't think the escape, the hide plan is going to work because time is being destroyed.
I love the sequence with Bart too, because it's always important with Bart being so impulsive and stuff like that to also show a competence to Bart. And Bart brings a lot into the table. Bart brings in information from the future and he was raised in a VR sequence. So he's got smarts. And I love that he was bringing and linking that, saying that trapped in molasses and how it would work and things like that. Remember, I grew up hooked up into a 31st century virtual reality thing so that I wouldn't metabolize into a gluey bob of amino acids. And the joking between Wally and Bart is so organic. I love that Wally and Bart are connecting over certain elements of his childhood that later are going to play off in this issue. This is just such a well-crafted issue. And if you like this issue at all, this is what it was like during Wade's run, especially when Impulse got introduced, as these two started developing a relationship together. This is very much like Wade coming home. Yeah. And it works so well. You know what I love about this? It says a lot about a writer's ability to get up to speed on where characters are actually at now and to stay up to date on them, that they can make you feel like it's like coming home, but it also feels like forward progression for the characters. And there's something about that with these issues. It's funny to say that when we're saying Impulse, kind of took a step back, but that was before Wade was involved in this. Wade's writing these characters where they're at now in current continuity, and it's working really well here. I love Wally's outfit. It's like every time I see it on the page, I just love the color scheme and all that. I'm a traditionalist. When they bring him back, I like when they make tweaks to the Flash costume, but I typically like the traditional Flash costume with, I like the Wally version and the Barry version, that there's tweaks to them and how the Barry's is the classic Silver Agey one and Wally's was the more of the sleek where they did some things with the lightning bolts and stuff like that. I usually prefer that. I'm finding right now that I want an action figure of this out. Matter of fact, I gotta see if there is one. I bet you there isn't one yet. I want an action figure of this Flash outfit or a statue of this Flash outfit. I like it that much.
No, I agree with you. I like the look. I like the groove of it. Like you, I I always like when they do little variations. This one is, I wouldn't call this a little variation. I'm happy with the fact that what they did, how much changes they made. Because before it used to be like, oh, the boots are this way or the lightning bolts this way, and that'd be about the only change. This one, they flat out did some major changes to the costume. It's still Flash. You 100% recognize it. And again, I always used to like how his hair would be showing, and they used to do the chop top where his hair is up on top and all that. But I'm glad that they're not doing that with this. They're giving him the full head and all that. And I really like how the earpieces kind of curve a little bit around his head. Oh, it's got that sleek look to it. Yeah.
It adds to that sense of speed when he's running too. And they play off of that. It's really, really good. Yeah, everything about this is just working really well. I love that through timey-wimey situations, Bart almost erases himself.
Well, Bart does erase himself for a period there.
Yeah.
I love Barry's, sorry, Barry, I said Wally is giving him the comment. And I love that they keep saying, oh, it's going to be easy. It'll be cakewalk. Here's the thing. It's like, it's not cakewalk. One, I'm right along with Wally. It's not ever cakewalk with Darkseid.
Yeah.
This is Darkseid.
Yes.
You can never say a fight with Darkseid is cakewalk, no matter what. And as Wally's giving his lecture, Bart's already taken off.
Yep.
And Wally's like, I gotta go catch him and find out. And it's neat.
With the best of intentions, though. I think it's one of the things that's endearing about Bart, and he adds humor to a certain extent, but the impulsive behavior is he's a doer. He wants to do things. And sometimes where the mentoring of Max comes in is Max is kind of his conscience and helps kind of guide him towards maturity. But I do love that Bart has a good heart and he wants to be a hero and he does things for the purpose of just trying to make things better. Even with Doomsday, I love that he was rushing headlong right into Doomsday for the purpose of he thought that like somebody was going to get harmed. At his core, Bart's a hero.
Yes.
And that's what got here. It's easy to love him because he is a hero and he needs maturing in all of those pieces. But I am glad Impulse is back because of those sequences. And it's great.
And again, and the thing about the Impulse, he rushes off, phases through the watchtower into space, but he was going fast enough, he's able to jump in the time stream before freezing or asphyxiating himself to death. That's Bart right there. He's not thinking, hey, I'm in the middle of space, I shouldn't be in space, I should go down to Earth and do this or blah, blah, blah. No, he's like, gotta go. We gotta fight Darkseid, and he goes, and Barry, I love that Barry goes, I keep saying Barry. Wally goes after him, and once he realizes what Bart did, he's like, yeah, I had to go get Bart. But like, Bart? Who's Bart? I'm like, oh, he already erased himself. So Wally's got to go back into the time stream and catch up to Bart. Well, prevent whatever he did.
Before the time stream catches up to him.
Right.
That's why he had to rush out right then and there because he knows that Wally's more time sensitive. And we got to see that in the Time Trapper issue where we got to see him with Omega Act and all that type of pieces. Wally's role in that. Wally has done enough time travel. So has Max, but Wally much more frequently these days than Max. Yeah. And I do love that Wally is a different level of Flash. I love this book. Oh my gosh, do I love the Flash. It's a very unique book in the DC universe. And when the right writers have been on it, it scratches an itch that no other title can. And that's what I love about the Flash. I'm glad you're growing into becoming a real Flash fan. And I think you're understanding what I'm talking about here. That when I read a Flash title, I get something out of it that I don't have another title when you've got a great writer on it. And this book has really enjoyed some great writers. You get something from the Flash you don't get from any other title.
Oh, God, yeah. 100%. Yeah. And it's funny because I always have my Superman. Flash has that same kind of moments.
Yeah.
Flash, yes. Again, it's the inspire hope in people. And
yes,
a Flash fact, we run towards danger, not away from danger. And just that kind of mindset. And
they're true heroes. True heroes.
How many Flashes have completely eviscerated themselves in time and space, saving the day? We've seen that multiple times. The Flashes are willing to sacrifice themselves to save the day. Mm-hmm. Flat out. And I love that about these heroes. I love seeing that. And I love seeing Wally race after Bart and kind of get lost in the time stream.
Yes.
Even though he is a master of the Speed Force, even he can get lost. Even he can lose.
But also time's on fire.
Right.
So you're dealing with a time stream that isn't what it was before. And this is some of the best of Flash storytelling, when Wally is racing into that danger, knowing that things are not as fluid as they were before. But this is what Wally does, because Wally's a true hero. This is just an aside. Where my passion for this came, at the time I was reading Wade's run, if you think about where Batman was at that time, we're dealing with the paranoid Dark Knight. The dark Bruce was really dark at that point in time, and I loved it. Don't get me wrong, I dig that. But what this gave me was, Wally is not perfect. Wally's a human. He's well-rounded, but he's a hero. He's a good guy, and his motivations are different. And it's a different kind of superhero storytelling when you read that book than when you're reading a Batman title. Yeah. It's a nice little break from that. Jack Knight in Starman was very much a 90s edgy kind of hero, and I loved Jack Knight and Starman. So when I had them, there were three different kinds of storytelling that I was getting out of those books. It was a nice, balanced environment at that time when I wanted to read more, but at least I was getting a fix over that. I will say it was neck and neck. If you're asking me what were my two favorites, this is going to be strange to say Batman fell behind these two. At that time, my favorite books, ones I would not part. If I had to go down to one title, the battle would have been between Starman and Flash.
Dang.
Which tells you where I was at that point in time, because those titles were neck and neck. James Robinson's writing of Starman was top notch, and boy, I would have sold one of your kidneys in order to keep reading them. It would have. I wouldn't want to sell one of mine.
You wouldn't get top dollar for it.
Oh, listen, dude, a couple issues, it would have been fine. I would have. Listen, Jim, I care about you though. I would have haggled. Because if it would have worked, I would have been selling other body parts. That's because something wrong with me though. This encounter with Darkseid was really good, because then I love when time travel stories do this. We flash back to something we've seen before. We're going back all the way back to All In and seeing the initial fight with Darkseid. His hand's gone and he's coming to fight. This is basically his setting up that stage. I love that they thought, because everybody was slow as molasses there, that Darkseid was going to stay there. Darkseid knew this could happen. Darkseid planned for this. He knew that with time travel, remember, Darkseid's going from the future backwards.
Yes.
He's working with time travel on his side and what he's doing. So they did not account for the fact that he was ready for that and had power on a level where I am everything. I am past, present, future. I am all. So awesome.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Barter didn't make for it. Impulse didn't account for it, because it's Impulse. I love the fact that as this is happening on, Wally's like, but I already know. I don't know how, but I know. And that's when the punch comes in. I was like, oh, that is brilliant. And I also love the fact that not only was Darkseid waiting for them, Darkseid's faster. This version of Darkseid is actually faster than Bart and Wally. So that really does show how much power levels he has. Because again, this is the Darkseid who wins. This is the Darkseid who takes out the entire planet, who takes out all the heroes. Not a single hero survives this guy. So he's faster than the Speed Force. He's faster than the Flash, faster than Impulse. And I love the fact that he is just throwing down, beating the holy heck out of them. And Wally's does just a desperation ran kind of thing to try to get them out of there. Yeah. I love the fact that Wally's recognizing retreat. He recognizes the fact that we need to get out of here. No way we're winning this fight. We are about to die.
Yeah. And that's one of those things that, especially seeing what happened to their past.
Yeah.
That their past was being manipulated and changed. I really like the fact that I can destroy you when and where I please at any moment. Don't you see? I am inevitable finally. I do like that they escaped there. And that piece was really smart with those two being time sensitive. And I like that they needed to escape together. That would took the two of them to get out of there. When those two team up together, it is a Batman and Robin sequence in a very different way, but it works really well. I love the familial feel of them that's still there. And you see why Jay and Irie and Bart work together. I like the cousins and the balance of that piece. I do love this team between the two of them, though. It was really, really cool.
And I love the connection.
Yeah.
Again, we had that initial bully that Wally went up against. And Bart's in his VR, and something feels different with the VR. It's hitting him harder. It's being more dangerous. Same thing with the bully. And then you look up and you got the image of the dark side eyes.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, not only has Darkseid has gone back in time to when they were kids, to before time, and actually changed what they're saying, what they're remembering. And this is the ultimate power that Darkseid has. It really does show the power that Darkseid is, in that he can go back and change their memories and make this is what actually happened.
Now, it's interesting to see what Bart goes back to 1908. So both because of the nature of the situation, Bart and Wally are sent back to, I would guess, I don't know if Wally made it back to 1908. We don't know yet where Wally is. Wally might be there too, but he has not encountered these two yet. I loved seeing Impulse and Max encounter each other. This is a Max. Max doesn't know Bart, right? Because that's still a thing. So he's obsessed with the pure Omega energy to learn about speed, the pure speed and how that's going to all connect. Max is bending the knee to the Legion of Darkseid.
Yes. Now, is this Max doing a fake out, or is Max 100% all in? I think Max is all 100% all in. This is the conquest of Darkseid. He went back to 1908. He's got Max in on the team. Bart's there going, hey, and I love the fact that the Legion say, oh, great, you came back. Now we can kill you.
Right.
So Bart's there, and all of a sudden, oh, crud, Bart's about to die again. Now, is Wally back in time there? If Wally goes somewhere else, I don't know. And I think that is cool. Because, it's Wally and Bart working together to escape from Darkseid. But they do get separated. In the one scene where they show them in the fire, they do get physically separated. So does that mean Wally landed at the same time that Bart did? I don't know. I think I'm personally betting that they're both there in 1908. And we're going to get a Wally Bart story, but also further shows why is Wally not in the tournament? Because he's trapped in time. Yeah, because of Bart. Once again, because of Bart. Thanks a lot, Impulse.
Yeah. Really, really good stuff. This has just been a great crossover so far. It's funny, when we talk, we've said repeatedly that we weren't sure what this was. Even when I was like kind of mapping out some of the future for us, I was looking at it that there was probably going to be a couple of DC events from the way things were laying out, because you could see like tendrils that were out there. I had no idea these things were going to be converging and that it was going to be this. So even the way I was like mapping out the show for the future end, I didn't expect us to have a bunch of crossover issues and things like that. And we could have just done DC. I didn't want to. I really wanted to cover all of these because I'm just enjoying the overarching story. It wasn't a feeling that we have to do this. It was, I want to talk about this. So I hope you're enjoying.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm 100% all in on this with you. I absolutely love this, and I've got the checklist out, just making sure when it comes out, I'm reading them.
Yeah.
So they come out. As it's coming out, I'm not waiting, because some of these were on the app, some of these are not on the app. I'm not waiting for the app. I'm buying these things electronically just as they come out, because I've got to read this stuff. This is this is what you want your event to do. You want people to say, I need to see what's next. I need to see the other tie-ins. So it's kind of neat that we've got all the different tie-ins. We know when to read, what not. So I'm very happy with this. I'm loving this setup.
Yeah, it's a lot of times over the years there's been talk about eventitis and things like that. What I didn't realize is how much I needed an event. Like I was looking, I'm like, I didn't know I wanted this until I've got it. And I'm like, oh, I want more. We got months of this coming ahead.
Yes.
And I actually love that this story has some room to breathe. And it's honestly, it's great right now to be kind of doing what I was hoping to do with the podcast was kind of do a journey around the universe while at the same time maybe taking a break here and there for some stories that we missed. Like, I really want to do like 20 to 25, the Flash story. I want to do that at some point in time. We got a lot of DCKO coming up, which is where our primary focus right now is going to be DCKO. Where there's breaks in there, we're going to split up. I do want to circle back to Ken Nabby at some point and do Legends.
Yeah.
But Legends is big. And I want to do Legends properly because all of Legends is available on the app with the tie-ins and everything. So I'd like us to do Legends as a thing and really do multiple episodes on Legends. So we're going to do that at some point. There's so much I want to do.
Yes.
That's a good problem to have, though. If you're doing a show like this or reading comics in general, and you feel like, I don't know what I want to read next, and it's very passé, that's a problem. I mean, we're in an era, I'm sure everybody listening to this is in the era where we all got stockpiles of stuff we want to get to. There's very few people, I'm sure, listening to this that are actually caught up on everything that they want to read. And that's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
It just really is. We never want to hit the point as comic book fans where, I don't know, there's just nothing coming out that I'm really interested in. And I'm all caught up on everything. And there's just, I don't know what I'm going to read next. That would stink.
Oh, God, yeah. That'd be a tough one. That'd be a tough period to live in.
Yeah.
And again, it's funny, like, I just got caught up on the Atom Project. I just read the Atom Project. You know, I hadn't read it yet, that's another really good series. I like that. That was a really cool, solid one. You know, and so I've been going through it. I've been getting caught up and picking stuff. So next up is JSA and Flash. Mm-hmm. I'm going to get caught up on. Mm-hmm. And then it's kind of neat, you know, because I do everything through the app as my primary reader. And I'm starting to learn the little quirks on the app on how to track stuff and this and whatnot. And, you know, so I'm getting pretty good at staying up to date as the stuff comes out on the app. But then I still do have my side lists of stuff for like DC or some of the Marvel stuff even, because I still am reading some Marvel issues, but not as many. But it's kind of it's a neat time to be a comic book fan. And yet you got to figure out, you got to start balancing stuff. You got to figure out, like, I've got my system where I read an issue before work and an issue after work. So I'm reading 2 issues a day. And weekends, I can usually get in a couple extra issues in the morning, a couple extra issues before I go to bed. And it's just picking what I'm going to read and what I'm going to read. And I'm really loving this. This comic books and our podcasts are like my happy points in my life. You have conversations with people at work, like, hey, how was your weekend? Oh, it was good. Just the general comments. Yeah, everything's cool. Like, you don't really think about it. The one time I actually did stop and think about it. And I was like, I had a good weekend when we were talking about DCKO. That was a fun conversation for me, and it really got me jazzed and excited. And I actually wrote that positivity into the week. You know, and just like this conversation, this is going to keep me happy and energized through part of the week. And then when I get caught up on Flash and JSA, I'm looking forward to what I'm going to read next. I'm very happy right now, and I'm thankful that we've got this event going on that has gotten me re-energized. It's really interesting because I'm reading Valiant just did a relaunch of their line, which is, I think, just to generate new readers and stuff like that. It's jumping on points. It's a reboot. I mean, which reboots happen. And so far, I'm enjoying the line quite a bit. I'm reading Marvel stuff like you over on Back to the Bins, which is I do Is It Jaws with Paul. On Back to the Bins, he does various series of stories. He has different guests and friends that join him for various different storytelling, and they have ongoing series that they're doing. One of them he just started was Squadron Supreme. So I wasn't on the first episode with that issue 1, but I highly encourage people to go and listen to it. I'm on issues 2 and 3, and it looks like I'm going to be on for the rest of the run on Back to the Bins, and that'll be coming out periodically. So if you don't listen to Back to the Bins, check it out. 2 and 3 just released this weekend as of when we're recording this, and really enjoyed the conversation. It's Paul, myself, and Gene Hendricks.
And we're doing 2 issues on every episode. Issue 1 was its own thing by Paul and Gene, and then issue 2 it was an oversized issue, and then issue 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 are going to be bundling them that way going forward. If you've never read that story, it was Marvel's take on Justice League. And it's an interesting sort of they were originally the Squadron Sinister bad guys, and this 12-issue arc is them as a good guy team, but they explore it was back in the era of like Alan Moore's work and things like that, like Watchmen, where storytelling was hitting into a lot more contemporary topics and some concerns. It's an example of what would happen if the heroes thought it was best that they take over things.
Nice.
And does everybody on the team feel the same way? And what does that look like? Really, really contemporary stuff. Whereas today we're very used to seeing that level of storytelling. They were exploring things back then that they were, again, another forefather of the kind of stuff that we're reading now. So definitely check that out if you haven't. But man, I'm digging reading comics right now. And I love that my interests go in phases, and this is just a great time to be a DC fan, and a great time to be a comic fan in general. I love that I've got too much stuff to read.
Yeah.
Reaching melting point. Not sure we can make it.
RagingBullets.com is our show website. That feeds into our Facebook fan page and feeds into Twitter/X, which we love to connect with you that way and give you up to date on what's going on with our show episodes. We are proud to be part of an amazing Facebook group community, and people are constantly posting articles and news and items that they're seeing out there that are related to comics and pop culture for our audience. I really appreciate everyone that participates there. Also, we're getting people that are giving us feedback on our episodes, where they're catching something that we're talking about, or they have different ideas, or they're pulling something from storytelling that we missed. And I really appreciate the dialogue and discussion that's going over there. The fact that these episodes are being extended, it's actually increasing my enjoyment of the reading to have feedback. I feel like we're having a continued conversation after this. So please jump over there and participate. We love hearing from all of you and what you're feeling about this. The About Us section of our show website is where you can find out how to connect with us on gaming platforms and personal social media. You can hear me bi-weekly on Is It Jaws, which is a film review podcast. Thanks to Paul Spataro for inviting me onto that show. We have a variety of special guests that come on really to talk about a variety of different film series out there. So consider joining us if you are a film fan at all. We are sponsored as always by DCB Service and InStockTrades.com. Mr. Segulin, what is going on over at DCBService.com?
We have the 50th anniversary Treasury edition of Superman vs. Amazing Spider-Man with the facsimile cover, 38% off. Plus, we have DC and Marvel Presents Spider-Man and Superman Marvel Treasury edition, 38% off, as well as multiple variant covers for both books. So thank you, DCBS.
Over at InStockTrades.com, once again, DC Finest, War, the Big Five arrived, trade paperback, $39.99 regularly, 55% off, only $17.99. And Injustice, Gods Among Us, Compendium Trade Paperback, Volume 2, $59.99 regularly, 48% off, only $31.19. I want to thank DCB Service and InStockTrades.com for continuing to support our show. Our next episode, Jim and I are back. We are continuing this look at DCKO with some big issues. Justice League Unlimited number 12, DCKO Nightfest number 1. I'm jonesing for that. Aquaman number 11. We will see you next week.
Bye.
All right, you guys. Are you ready to sing your song?
I'd say we are. Yeah, let's sing it now.
Okay, this should be fun. Now get ready for your cue. Okay, Sean?
Okay.
Okay, Jim? Jim? Jim!
Okay. Raging Bullets time is here. We talk about what we hold dear. Comic books and TV shows. Superheroes and their clothes. Justice League and so much more. I just love Green Lantern Corps.
Okay, fellas, get ready. That was very good, Sean.
Naturally.
Jim, you're a little flat there, so be careful. Jim? Jim? Jim!
Okay. Justice League and so much more. I still love Green Lantern Corps. DC Comics are what we know. The Raging Bullet Show. DC Comics are what we know. The Raging Bullet Show.
Excellent job, guys.
Let's sing it again. Yeah, let's sing it again.
No, that's enough. Let's not push it.
Push it. What is that? Yeah, what are you talking about?
No, I didn't
What
mean
are you
anything
trying
by
to
that.
say? I think
Sean,
you're right
Jim,
now.
how long do you want the song to go?
Look, it's our